What is the widest song ever? If you're at a party and then it comes on and girls go, woo!
And all the guys go, oh, come on!
Yeah, and everyone goes to the dance floor. That's a white song.
Somewhere unseen, it got a little longer, so it seems.
What is up? Welcome back to the podcast. This is just a quick little intro before we start to let you guys know what this week's episode is, because it's a little bit different to usual. I mean, not really, but I just feel like I need to preface it with this has easily been the most requested thing for some reason ever since I started the podcast. I always get messaged, could you talk about your music more? You often mention music. You don't talk about it. For some reason, people are fascinated with my love for pop punk, Blink-182, and really just white trash. So as I sit here talking to you in my Vans Off the Wall t-shirt that I have owned since I think I was in year 9, man. This t-shirt has seen some shit. Dude, this t-shirt smells like Lynx Africa, teenage angst, and like a hint of Good Charlotte. You know, it has that waft to it. But, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this chat. If you love early 2000s music, pop punk, and just pretty much white music, you will love this chat. I think this is the widest discussion on music that may have ever been broadcasted to the world. So this is history in the making. If you want to watch two white boys talk about their love for Blink-182 and other kinds of nostalgic things, I feel like people in this episode, like you guys listening right now, you're about to be taken through a trip through memory lane, because it was a very fun episode. I did it with one of my best friends in the world, Radio Mike, who is also the second biggest music nerd I know. Actually, he's probably more of a music nerd than me, so he's the right man for the job. We have very, very similar tastes in music. We go on to discuss my high school band, the Shrek soundtrack, Blink-182, the evolution of like pop punk, the genre, and also other types of music. We talk about the Triple J movement in Australia, and really what music's become and some of our favorite things. Just everything, we pretty much just talk everything surrounding the topic of music. But I'll be honest, if you came here for some in-depth discussion about how music has changed society throughout time and like, you know, starting off at the 30s and then, nah. Yeah, you've come to the wrong podcast. Go to a podcast that isn't called Memoirs of a White Guy. But if you want to hear some discussion about Mr. Brightside and Soulja Boy, then boy, oh boy, you're going to love this ep. So, yeah, enjoy this chat with Radio Mike. And also, by the way, the second most requested thing I've ever had on the podcast has been the Peter Pigeon interview. Will I ever release it? The world's not ready yet, okay? But for now, we are doing the music episode. So please enjoy this chat about one of my favorite topics in the world, music. Oh, and also, I did a boo-boo. I really pulled a classic Luke, you could say. And you would think that in this in-depth 1 hour, 45-minute chat about music, we would mention the Ultimate Pump-Up Song Tournament. One would think that, but you'd be wrong, because I'm an idiot. I forgot. Because this podcast is already a long one, I thought we'll save it for next week now. But I did forget to discuss the Ultimate Pump-Up Song Championships. That's how into this discussion we were. And by the way, if you hang around for long enough, right at the end, Radio Mike and I do our rendition of one of our favorite songs of all time. So yeah, enjoy this chat about music. Let me know what you guys think of this episode, and if you want to see more specialist episodes like this in the future as well. Like if you want to see like a entire episode around sport, or an entire episode where I talk about video games or books. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to talk about books. It's just going to be a lot of Specky McGee chat. And Harry Potter. So that, I mean, I haven't read many books, so maybe not books. But if you want to see me talk about, specialist topic every once in a while, do let me know, because this episode was heaps of fun to record. Anyway, guys, enjoy this episode, and I'll see you guys next podcast. Welcome to chapter 134 of our fan-suggested one this week, Chronicles of a Hoary Buddy.
What does that even mean?
Is that hoary? Hoary.
Yeah.
Hoary?
It's Hoary.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Anyway, I got a fellow hoary buddy with me today. I'm joined by Radio Mike, a good friend of the show, good friend of the Luke and Lewis show.
Best friend of the show or just a good friend?
I would say you've only been in here once, so I think if you come on 3 times, I've never had a guest 3 times. Maybe Lewis. No,
triple threat. No, Lewis would have been on
only
at least
twice.
4 times.
No, like twice.
Really?
Why would I do a podcast? Why would I do this podcast with someone who I have another podcast with?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're a bloody podcast menace.
I am. I'm a hoary buddy. You're right. I whore myself around the podcast world like no tomorrow. Welcome to this very special episode, guys, of Memoirs of a White Guy. Today is the music episode.
Yes. And if you don't know what music is, it's sort of like la 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 la. Like that's music. Anything can be music.
That's good. We've literally started from the most basic thing. So now we're all included. Yeah. So if you are like, God, I wonder what that is. Great.
Now you know.
And then, what about if someone asked, I would like to imagine that now they're at a trivia night during the week, like, define music, and they're like, oh, bzz, la 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 la.
Well, yeah, I mean, music isn't about what you hear, it's about what you feel.
I am a strong believer of that.
Yeah.
Which is why your penis is music sometimes to me.
Well, that's random, but can I just say...
I thought that was really funny, and then as soon as I set it up, I regretted it a lot.
No, we'll keep it in, though, but...
I'm not cutting it out, but I want people to know that I don't... Luke Kidgell, don't endorse that joke, and I don't want that to reflect on my brand.
And it's never happened, either.
What?
What you said.
Oh, no.
No,
it was a joke, yeah.
Can I know it's your podcast and you direct it, but I just wanted to kick it off. Can we talk about our favourite lyrics of all time? Like, what's your favourite lyrics that mean the most to you?
Oh, man, this is like a deep question early.
Yeah.
Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I've got an answer. If you want, I'll do my answer.
Okay, I'll do mine.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
So it starts off, somebody once told me the world was going to roll me.
Yeah.
And then the next lyric is what really kind of gets the feels is, I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Can I actually say, I used to think that it was, and this is interesting, I used to think the words were, I ate the sharpest tool in the shed.
I ate the sharpest
and the lyrics are saying, I am not a very intelligent person, and by me making that mistake, I am the truest representation of that lyrics.
You truly did eat the sharpest tool.
Yeah. Now, that's a great one. And just before we launch into it, my favourite lyrics of all time is from the Black Eyed Peas song Boom Boom Pow, in which Fergie says quite profoundly, I like that boom boom pow, them chickens jacking my style. It just speaks to me.
The actual lyrics?
Those are the official lyrics.
Them chickens jacking my style.
I like that boom boom pow, them chickens jacking my style.
So she saw a chicken wearing, like, she wears pretty crazy shit on stage, and she saw a chicken dressed in some crazy shit and was like,
jacked her style.
What is up with this chicken?
Yeah.
Jacking my style.
Yeah, and then she put it in a song.
Yeah. I like to think that will.i.am wrote that line.
And just was like, come on, just sing it, Fergie. Like, I ain't singing that. No chickens jacking my style.
So, this episode has been the most highly requested episode I've ever done. I've never not done it.
You haven't done it, yeah. Now we're doing
since I started the podcast, I always get people saying, would love to hear about your music, because I think it's a thing I bring up a lot, and then I guess I don't spend that long talking about it because I didn't know people were interested in it. Music's been a thing in my life where before comedy, that is all I did. I would say music was my full identity before comedy. This is how sad my life was before I started comedy. My life goal was to be in a not even that successful. This in a kind of successful Australian pop punk band. That was the dream. That's all I wanted to do was maybe one day I could do a show in Sydney at the Factory Theatre.
Good Night Nurse. Did you ever listen to Good Night Nurse, that pop punk band from New Zealand?
No. I'm actually and I'm surprised I've never heard of that band.
You would have loved them back in the day.
I was all I wanted to do, I was one day maybe I could open for Heroes for Hire. Like,
Who the fuck are Heroes for
like
Hire?
just like this Australian pop punk band.
Sound off in the comments below.
We're not doing
Heroes for Hire or Goodnight Nurse?
I hate
Who do you
that
like better?
Sound off is becoming Sound off started off
On your podcast.
on the Luke and Lewis podcast, and now it's just become a thing that we all say in our personal lives.
Sound off in the comments if you like Sound Off, but also Heroes for Hire or Goodnight Nurse. That's the first. We're doing a new
do a
part
bunch
of the
of
podcast.
polls.
Is we just comment polls, sound off polls. We'll
Sound
call
off
them.
polls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sound off
great.
polls.
Heroes Fire, or what was the other band?
Goodnight Nurse.
But I guess I
you
thought
didn't even acknowledge.
no,
my
I
answer.
don't know what they are.
They
um,
had this song called My Only. And it was like, digger, 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 digger. You know it. Digger, digger, sing along. Digger, 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 digger,
somebody once done with it. No,
that's a
that was my
different song.
Smash Mouth. So yeah, I think I wanted to get Mark on this podcast because you are weirdly one of my mates who I think we have a very similar taste of music.
Yeah.
Since we've known each other, we've always been into the same bands.
Yeah.
I was like, so I think we should start off at the start of like where we both started with music, and then up until now what we listen to.
Yeah.
So I
'Cause
think
before when I said about Fergie being my favorite,
Yeah.
that wasn't true. That was a joke.
oh, that was
Yeah,
a good
so
one, man.
Them chickens jacking my style is actually an example of quite a bad lyric.
Yeah.
That I think. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah.
So I would say I started my music journey through whatever my dad listened to. So it was
Same.
like Beatles, Rolling Stones, just random 80s like Australian crawl, like weird Australian bands.
How old's your dad?
Like 50.
Yeah.
You should
Same
you
age
know
as
that?
my dad.
58 or something?
How would I know that?
No, I meant
I
should.
assume we're like a similar age.
No. I meant should you know your dad's age? Probably.
Yeah, you
I
should know your
don't.
dad.
I don't know if I do.
My dad's, I think.
Yes, exactly.
I think he's 55.
Yeah.
So similar age, like so.
And was he just like, I think that's how everyone starts. It's like whatever
Yeah.
your parents listen to in the car is what you like before you're old enough to decide what you want.
Yeah.
And then I started buying like So Fresh CDs.
Oh, okay.
You know, like with like all the hits on it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Be boys, fly girls, put your hands." And I was like, "This is the shit."
So my dad listened to like Midnight Oil.
Yeah,
And mum really liked Elvis and Tom Jones.
yeah.
So-
Every mum likes Tom Jones.
So
That's the what's new, pussycat.
yeah, and
Whoa,
it's not
whoa.
unusual. And I used to go to school and sing Tom Jones in like grade 2 and be like, "Oh, do you guys listen to Tom Jones? How sick's he?"
Isn't that funny though? When you're that age, you actually think like, "This is cool."
Yeah,
Like-
you're
like Tom Jones is the shit.
What's New Pussycat speaks to me.
That's
on
music.
level, because you never find out at the end of the song what was new with the Pussycat.
No,
It's never answered to this day. So
kind of frustrating. It's
is,
like a
it's really-
hectic tease
totally,
the whole time.
that never gets revealed.
And then I think what everyone does is when you first start to listen to your own, I guess we need to start with what was the first album that you bought yourself with your own money?
See, the first album I ever bought would have been Greatest Hits by Blink-182.
That's a good start. Mine was similar.
Yeah.
Kind of embarrassed. Mine was
Simple
Good
Plan.
Charlotte's
Good Charlotte.
second album.
Is that the
So-
Young and the Hopeless?
No, so that's the one I should have bought. I think that was on the same rack, and I bought Chronicles of Life and Death because
Oh,
it was
that was their
out.
second.
It was
yeah.
just out at the time.
Yeah.
When really, looking back at it now, The Young and the Hopeless was the superior album.
Oh, totally. That had the anthem.
Yeah, but I think I just heard
Lifestyles.
I Just Want to Live on the radio, and I was like, I want that.
Chronicles had I Just Want to Live and the title song Chronicles of Life and Death.
of Life and Death.
And everything.
And I'll be
between.
honest, I don't even remember that many more songs off that album.
But it's funny you asked about the first album I bought because I used to watch like video hits on Channel 10 or whatever it was on. And actually the first 2 songs I ever remember of the pop punk quote unquote genre that I loved was again kind of embarrassing. The first one was a song called Addicted by Simple Plan.
I never liked Simple Plan that much.
So-
to the point where I think other people did. And I was like,
Yeah, right.
they're alright.
But I just heard this Addicted song and I was like, and the chorus was, I'm addicted to you. And I was like, oh my God, he's misled us by thinking that he's calling himself a dick, which is a
Yes.
rude word for you to hear when
Yeah.
you're in grade 2. And he's actually addicted. And I just thought this was the most edgy band ever.
I'm addicted to you.
Then, in 2003, a movie came out called Cheaper by the Dozen.
I was gonna bring this up because you know what came on? I had a pop punk playlist on
Yeah.
the way here because I knew we were coming to do this podcast. And I was
Yeah.
like, let's just get back in the zone.
Yeah.
I know we're gonna talk about pop punk a lot. I'm Just a Kid came
Simple
on in the
Plan.
car, and
Yeah.
I pissed myself laughing, going,
It's
"This guy's 30.
Such a dramatic song. And
He's 30, going like,
Yeah,
I'm just a kid." I'm like,
oh.
"No, you're not, dude. You're an adult with a mortgage and a
Yeah.
wife." Like,
he also had a song called Welcome to My Life, which is like, to be hurt, to feel loved, right?
be
And
left out
Cheaper by the Dozen was a film about Steve Martin having 12 kids that he had to take care of. And also in that movie is a song called In Too Deep by Sum 41.
yeah.
And that was the song that ignited my love of punk music.
So Sum 41 was the band that got you
I
in.
was obsessed with them to the point where I knew their full names of all the band members. I knew the history. I loved them.
If you don't know who Sum 41 are, there was like 3 huge pop punk bands that I think
Yeah.
were all kind of really comparable.
Yeah.
It was Blink-182, Green Day, and Sum 41. And Sum 41 I would say were the most punk of those because they were actually the least mainstream. Green Day publicly were the most punk of
Yeah.
those 3.
Yeah.
But I would say they achieved mainstream success so early in their career that they kind of just
They
became
weren't
like, my
punk,
dad
yeah.
was like, yeah, Green Day's good. Like,
But Sum 41 was like the discount Blink 182. Like,
but I thought they were, yeah, they were,
in a
but
good
they were
way.
good.
In a good way. Like,
yeah.
And they In Too Deep is such an. To this day, it is an incredible pop punk banger.
That record, All Killer No Filler, is
Yeah.
literally all killer no filler.
There is no filler
There's
on that
not a
album.
shit song.
It's not a lie. They also had an EP called Half Hour of Power before that.
Yeah.
And the EP goes for exactly 30 minutes. So
And-
they don't lie in their titles.
That's
Half
true.
Hour of Power, exactly a half
That is
hour.
so honest.
Yeah.
Good on them.
But yeah, so I fell in love with Sum 41.
That's so funny that you mentioned Cheaper by the Dozen
Yeah.
in being involved with your music because I remember that was the first time I had also heard both of those songs.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was listening to at the time, but I just remember going, I think this is cool. And then it was my friend Stefan, his brother, I guess he had an older brother. So his older brother was in like just into high school and he started listening to Blink-182. And then, do you know, obviously, you know, but like if some people may not know, they have a live album called The Mark, Tom, and Travis Show. And when I was like 12, I like we didn't used to swear in my house. Like I was brought up pretty conservative, I guess. And I heard this album and they were like, fuck you, fuck this. And they were just joking around, talking about cum.
Satan comes on stage.
Yeah, and he's like, "Roar," and they're all just, it's a piss take from start to finish.
Yeah.
Let's all say some dirty words. Everyone say fuck. Everyone say shit. Everyone say dick. Everyone say Mark's an asshole. Everyone say fuck, shit, fuck. That's the kind of words you should be using at home, kids.
Looking back at it now, I kind of think like, these guys are so immature for how old they are.
Yeah.
But that like changed my life, that album.
That's a really good live album. And like Blink-182 was probably the final step for me in terms of punk bands. Like I was so into Sum 41 and Green Day, and then I would have been 16. Like I knew Blink-182 existed. Everyone did. Like they had all the small things. What's my age again? But then when I was like 16, I got deep into their entire back catalog, and I was like, wow, this is the band I've needed my whole life.
Yeah, there's literally out of shot. There's a
there's a
Blink-182 poster there.
Yeah.
And I also have a frame thing above my podcast every week. I would say Blink-182 are my favorite band of all
my
time.
guitar picks. These are my guitar picks. They're all Blink-182 themed.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, other people like, and oh, by the way, if you obviously people kind of knew what they were getting into. If you came here for deep intellectual discussion on music, you shouldn't have come to Memoirs of a White Guy. But if you want us to talk about the Shrek soundtrack and Blink-182
And Fergie.
and the Killers, which I assume we'll get to soon, this is the podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. So so like, yeah, you kind of went through the Sum 41 avenue. I think I heard Blink-182 and then I found Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco. See, I felt like you stayed over the rock alternative side of that spectrum.
I still liked those two bands,
Yeah.
you said, but they never were like
Your
my
favorites.
favorite.
Yeah. See, I think I never gravitated towards the punk side of the genre. I always stayed in like the fun, rebellion, but also like the Fall Out Boy, like the poppy side as well.
Fall Out Boy were really like produced before
Yes.
before Blink was really produced.
That was like a new wave
Yeah.
of the genre. And I would say that's when the genre actually became proper mainstream. Was like when everyone was like, yeah, Sugar We're Going Down and Thanks for the Memories. That was sick. And that, I feel like a lot of people are listening to this now going like, obviously most people moved on from the genre. I still like sometimes go back and listen to that shit.
Yeah, same. But I feel like it's different now because I don't feel like I necessarily relate to the music personally anymore.
No, but I think what I like about it is I remember how it made me feel at the time, and it's like nostalgic.
Yeah, it's the memories of it that make me want to listen to it.
And one thing I asked you guys to send in suggestions and of what we could talk about and stuff, and one thing people kept bringing up was like talk about emo pop punk music, and I never understood why it was referred to as emo music. I would say the only emo band that I ever liked was My Chemical Romance, and I still do.
So I think the distinction, this is my understanding of it. I think emo music traditionally, like a lot of people associate emo with like self-harm and like which it actually isn't actually like what emo was about. Emo music was more about music that was...
Stands for emotional, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was music that was self-critical. Like, lyrically, it was critical of yourself and like, it was to do with, like, insecurity and self-critical.
Yeah.
So, there's a band called Weezer, and they had this album called...
I never got into Weezer.
Yeah, so they're a really nerdy, geeky band, and their first two albums, the Blue Album and Pinkerton, are often referred to as, like, the pioneers of emo in the 90s, because they were very... Rivers Cuomo, who's the lead singer, was a very reflective and self-critical person in the way he wrote his music, particularly in that album Pinkerton. And then My Chemical Romance sort of... They were really theatrical, and they...
their band was like a... Yeah, you're right, it's theatrical. It's almost like watching a musical theatre.
The Black Parade was...
That whole tour was like a story almost.
And they were really inspired by Bowie. And like,
I think that's still my top 3 favourite albums of all time.
Yeah, that's a great album. But like, even My Chemical Romance were probably more about concept albums and storytelling than I would... Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were emo. I think people just associated their look with the emo phenomenon. Yeah, they saw dudes
with eyeliner and they heard one song about teenagers.
Yeah.
Scare the shit out of me. They were like, emo.
Yeah.
I think that's one... Like, I think that's one of their worst songs.
I agree. They had this song on that album called Famous Last Words.
Yeah.
That's a really good song.
I love all the songs. House of Wolves, like Dead, The Sharpest Lives. I know every song. Cancer's great.
Cancer's such a heart-wrenching song.
I think I can literally sing that whole album off by heart. Same with like Enema of the State by Blink. And
Enema is like... Enema of the State, which was probably Blink's breakthrough commercial album.
Yeah.
That if it's a summer day, if it's, here in Melbourne, mid-December, 25 degrees, you're driving to the beach, I always listen to Enema. It is a summer album.
Yeah, I think even Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Both of those albums, yeah. They just feel like they're supposed to be listened to in the sun.
Now, what I always want to know, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like, we talk about this a lot. Like, sometimes we'll be at, like, the radio show, or, like, when we used to do it together, and we'd be talking about Blink-182, and Lewis would be like, shut up. Like, no one cares.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing we've always had a lot in common. But because we always get interrupted by Lewis because it's lame conversation. I wanted to know, how deep did you get into like the culture of this music? And like for example, I actually tried to learn how to skateboard because I just wanted to be like a part of that. And I stopped very quickly because I realized this isn't for me. And I remember there was there was a year there I was like, I should buy a skateboard.
Yeah. I got pretty deep into it. I used to have in year 10, I reckon year 10 was my peak punk phase.
Yeah.
I had like
same with me.
Side fringe hairstyle that all the punk, like Tom DeLonge's hairstyle in the 2003 Blink-182 era, where he had the messy hair with the side fringe.
That was me as well.
That's what
I used to straighten my fringe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I'm like, Pete Wentz does it. Me too.
I used to cut my own fringe so it would be a perfect angle, and people used to say, you can see where you've cut it, like it's not straight at all.
I don't think Tom DeLonge used to cut his own fringe.
There was a period where I would Sharpie my fingernails black just to look like Jared Way and stuff.
I never went that deep.
Yeah, and I was so involved in the music. But this, I'd like to ask you this. I remember when I was in year 11, I was saying to, it must have been year 10 or 11, Blink-182 had returned with Tom,
Mm-hmm.
because Tom, maybe get into that later. Tom had left the band. He came back. They were doing a new album called Neighborhoods.
Yeah.
The album was about to come out. I told someone at school, like Blink-182's got a new album coming out. This was the biggest thing in my life. I was so excited. And then this
Which album? Oh, Neighborhoods. Right.
And then this guy from my school looked at me and he was just like, who the hell listens to Blink-182? And I just remember he made me feel like so embarrassed that, like some 17-year-old kid was listening to a punk band. Like, looking back now, I was the exact demographic of that band, but I was
Yes.
made to feel like it was stupid to like punk music when I loved it.
Well, people moved on. So I would say after 2013, like after, Fall Out Boy, Folio, Dude, like there was so many albums in the space of like 2005 to 2012 that was like pop punk. That was when it was mainstream and cool. Like those bands were filling huge shows
Totally.
and
Green
it was on
Day
the radio.
was probably the biggest rock band in the world around 2005.
Yeah, and then it just, I guess people just get over it, and like that, those people grow up and start listening, and and in Australia especially, Triple J music became a thing, and it just changes like how it does every 10 years. Music and people's taste
The
change.
trends change.
And I think obviously those bands kept going, and obviously there's still a lot of people who just I like that shit. I'm never going to move on. That's kind of like me. I'm just like, I like what I like.
Yeah.
And I think I was lucky. I was in a circle where I was kind of like friends with like the muso kids at the school, because like I was in a band and stuff in high school. So all my friends were like also excited about that music coming out.
Yeah.
But I remember like one day to get Vices and Virtues, the Panic at the Disco album, I stayed up till 4 a.m. because that was when it was being released on iTunes.
Right.
And I'd pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
And I stayed up till 4 a.m. to listen to it. In hindsight, should have just gone to bed and woken up.
Yeah.
But I was so excited.
That's
and I
like-
came to school the next day and I was listening to it all day.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like ostracized for it. Everyone was like, oh man, that's so cool. How is it? Is it good?
That's exactly me with in 2011 Sum 41 put out this album called Screaming Bloody Murder.
Oh, that's
which
a
was
pretty good album.
one of my favorite punk albums ever.
I really
to be
like that
honest.
song Scumfuck.
Yeah, that's
I like
a great
that
song.
song.
And
Which is so like, if you've never heard of that band, you'd be like, that's so like angsty. Like to
Yeah,
call a
angsty.
song Scumfuck.
Oh, you bloody
is
scumfuck.
so like try hard punk.
But I remember I was at school the day it came out, and I made my mum go to JB Hi-Fi to buy the CD for me.
That's
and
so funny.
I just assumed my mum would fuck it up and buy the wrong one, so I sent her a text saying, Mum, what are the first 3 songs on the track listing? Because I knew the track listing. And Mum writes back, the first 3 songs were Screaming Bloody Murder, Scumfuck, and then, oh no, it was Reason to Believe, Screaming Bloody Murder, and Scumfuck. So Mum writes back, Screaming Bloody Murder, Reason to Believe, Scumfuck. And I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks, Mum, you got the right one. And Mum's just like, what the fuck is my son listening
As
to?
if, like, she's-
Scumfuck.
Dude, even Screaming Bloody Murder
Yeah, she
is
must
like,
have been like, what the fuck is this shit?
my son's going through a phase and I'm encouraging it. I always think how much money those bands made from parents' credit cards.
Oh, totally.
Like, would have been half their income is like the tickets to shows, like, Mom, can I get a Fall Out Boy?
Yeah.
And like, I always pay for that shit by myself because my parents would have never.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mum paid for Screaming Bloody Murder.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was-
think I ever gave her the $20.
That was actually one thing that my parents, I guess, never, not supported, but like never just got involved with was my obscure pop punk phase. Like they never financially, like they never bought me a Panic at the Disco album, or they never bought, and they knew I was really into it actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Like, yeah, my dad would buy me like a Coldplay album for Christmas, and I'd be like, oh, thanks. You know that meme where the kid's like, an avocado?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd be
It's
like,
Coldplay.
I'll be like, oh, Viva La Vida.
Milo Xylotto.
Yeah, thanks. Dude,
Yeah.
that came in my stocking one year.
Milo Xylotto.
Dude, yeah, I was like, that was recent.
I don't even know how to say that now.
I was just like, I don't like Coldplay.
You know, speaking of like Panic at the Disco, because they moved on really quickly. Like their album, Pretty Odd, was it? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I
with
loved it.
Nine in the
And
Afternoon?
that was the only one. I remember, so I used to pump it in my room all day. Like,
Yeah.
Fall Out Boy, Blink, and Dad would just be like, these bloody kids. One day I was listening to Pretty Odd. Now, for people who don't know, Pretty Odd is like,
It's pretty odd.
it's pretty odd. It is so different to any other thing you've ever heard of.
It's not punk.
No.
It's like a theatrical. It's like a
There's-
show
there's
tunes.
folk songs on it.
Folk, theatrical, baroque pop.
Things are shaping up to be pretty odd. Little dusty musical bell.
I just love this album, and my
I
dad,
agree.
and I think it was heavily inspired by like the Beatles, the 60s kind of era, because
Yeah.
that's what obviously music
Like
they
this kind of glam feeling.
yeah, and the song 9 in the Afternoon was like the single for that, like dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
And that
back
was
to the
probably
streets.
the most mainstreamish kind
Yeah.
of one. The rest was so like experimental and
Cause it's 9 in the afternoon, and your eyes are the size of the moon.
Panic seemed to just move on from
Yeah.
pop punk so quickly after they started.
I think they were worried about, like, they were just compared, because Pete Wentz signed them. That's how they made it.
Right.
So they were discovered by Fall Out Boy. They were
That
just,
makes sense.
they toured endlessly, like, I Write Sins, Not Tragedies. And their first album was such a hit that I think they would have just, imagine being in that position where you've gone from, no one's debut album goes that big.
No.
Like Panic at the Disco. They were in every single 14-year-old girl's CD player at the time,
Yeah.
all throughout the world.
Yeah.
So they would have been faced with like, right, everyone's comparing us to pop punk. They're wearing the eyeliner and stuff. They would have been like, let's just fucking do everything.
something
Because I reckon
different.
they would have been sick of that environment
Yeah.
and being compared to everyone else.
And they probably had the foresight to see that there was a bit of an overexposure of the genre.
Yes.
So people were like not getting
But
sick of it.
they got hectic backlash at the time from a lot of their fans.
Mm.
But then afterwards, I think a lot of people who really liked the band were like, oh no, hang on, this is their best album.
It is. It's
And-
so creative.
Yeah, so getting back to my dad, remember I was playing in my room that album and he walks past and he goes, I like this, mate. What's this? And I was like, pretty odd. And it's by Panic at the Disco. And he heard me say Panic at the Disco and he's like, what? Because he knew he'd
They
heard
were
the
this
other
punk
songs.
band my son likes.
And he's like,
yeah.
no. And I was like, yeah, this is what they do now.
Mm.
And he was like, right, that's pretty good. Like,
And look at all of these bands. Panic are one of the only ones that have now remained or
Dude,
regained relevance in
literally
the pop scene.
talking to my mate about this last night. They're the only band in the genre that stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Because my mate messaged me laughing, going, haha, have you seen the new Blink-182 video? Now, have you seen it?
The
The Dark Side? Did
I
you
haven't
watch-
seen it. It's in my YouTube watch.
Do you want to
later.
watch it live? I was hoping you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Dude, it's like
Yeah.
the most embarrassing thing they've ever
Oh, no.
released.
Is it worse than the What's My Age Again Lil Wayne mashup? Because
Not the song, but the music video. That
Okay.
song was terrible.
yeah, I hope we can get into
Gee,
later
let's-
Blink 182.
Yeah, well, let's do it. Oh, no, we can do it now if you want. Like,
Okay,
how,
well-
what they've become.
I mean, I was just gonna say like Panic, High Hopes was massive, and then Brendan Urie is featuring on a Taylor Swift song.
I
you
hated
know.
that. I didn't like that.
Yeah, but I think that shows how relevant they still
Yes.
are. That someone like
Well,
Taylor Swift.
I
wants
saw
to-
him. It's just like I saw him on the Vices. No, I saw him on the Death of a Bachelor tour in Festival Hall.
Yeah.
Then they came back 2 years later, and I saw them in an arena.
Yeah.
So they got bigger in between Death of a Bachelor, because that was such a good album. And then they released what was the Pray for the Wicked, and then they
Yes.
did Rod Laver like twice.
Yeah, that's amazing. But Blink, like the way it kind of goes is Blink put out Dude Ranch. I think that must have been 94 or 95.
Yeah.
Which had Damn It, which is still to this day probably one of their biggest songs. And like,
That also came on in the pop punk playlist
Yeah.
on the way here,
Great
and I was
track.
like, I prefer the live version where Tom sings the chorus.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
I'm a Tom fan.
I'm a Tom fan as
Yeah.
well. Actually, if we're talking about favorite lyrics of all time, the lyrics in that song where Mark sings, "Maybe I'll see you at a movie sneak preview. You'll show up. I'll walk by. I'll show up. You'll walk by on the arms of that guy. I'll smile. You'll wave. We'll pretend it's okay. The charade it won't last. When he's gone, I won't come back." That's probably my favorite lyric of all time because I just think it really demonstrates that teenage heartbreak and upset.
Yeah.
and-
So when you said that, because obviously I've never heard it just spoken before, that's
Yeah.
actually like a
It's
cool
quite
kind of
profound.
like poem-y kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you like put, Travis Barker, or not at the time, it wasn't Travis
It was
Barker.
Scott Raynor.
But like, yeah, when you put like hectic drums behind it and guitar, people just, I think a lot of people like overlook it and go like, it's music for kids.
yeah.
And it is kind of, because they're talking about being a teenager.
Kind of, but the youthful angst of that album is so there.
Yeah.
Like it's like that album is a time in everyone's life.
And I think it would just be a thing where like how our, if our kids or whatever in the future, I'll look at it kind of like how I look at my dad's music, which is like, I see the appeal, but I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have
It's
the
not for me,
same
yeah.
connection to it.
It's a nostalgic connection.
Yeah.
So after Dude Ranch in 99 was Enema, which had All the Small Things,
That
What's
was
My Age Again, Adam's
when
song.
they actually got big worldwide.
I mean, All the Small Things was like such a phenomenon at the time.
Say it ain't so, I will not go. Turn the lights off, carry me home.
It's funny because the music video for that song, they're poking fun of all the boy bands like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
They're all parodies of that. And then 10 years later, One Direction put out What
Makes You Beautiful on the same beach.
They filmed it on the same beach that Blink-182 filmed it.
Yeah.
And it's just really ironic because Blink-182 were already making fun of One Direction 10 years before they existed.
Yeah, it was great.
And then Take Off Your Pants was just Enema Part 2, basically, which had First Aid and The Rock Show as the big singles. And then...
My favourite song of that is Stay Together for the Kids.
Yeah, that's a great slow one. There's also...
Nah, that's not slow. That gets
well, it's heavy.
cranking.
It's sad and heavy, I guess, yeah.
So here's your holiday. Hope you enjoy it this time.
In 2003, they put out an untitled album that was just Blink-182 on the front cover. It's a big smiley face.
Yeah.
And that is my favourite album ever in the history of music. It was a complete radical shift. It's a much darker album that has songs like I Miss You, Always, Violence, Feeling This. And and the idea of that album from Tom was we want people to hear this album and think, how is this Blink-182?
Yeah. Most Blink-182 fans regard that as the best album.
I think it's an opus, and it was a lot of people were taken aback by it because they were like, "What? I was expecting another Enema of the State."
I was like, what was that? 2003. So I was 8. That's the thing. I never actually was liked. Obviously, I was 8, so I never actually listened to all these albums when they came out, and
Neither
saw
did I.
like the
evolution.
Yeah, like we're not off to see like how it was received when it first came out.
Yeah.
So all I've watched back, and I remember, have you watched that documentary of how they recorded it
At someone's
in that
house?
Yeah.
That's so... Everyone should watch that documentary. I think
great.
it's called... It's an MTV special, I think. Yeah.
And then I remember like they filmed themselves going to buy their own album in like the record store the day when it came out.
Yeah.
Because that album, they literally sent it to the record label
That
the
day or
final thing
something?
the
Yeah.
night before it was released.
It's really insightful if you want to see how much thought went into the songs on this album. But like even in the song "Feelin' This," there's a sort of like a bit where Tom sings the chorus, and it sounds like because Mark sings the chorus usually, but then Tom sings one, and it sounds like he's really far away.
Yeah.
And the way they recorded it was they recorded it in the hall of a massive house with the microphones on one end of the hall, and Tom stood on the other end of the hall yelling the chorus.
That's so cool.
And it has this...
Yeah, I remember that from the thing.
Yeah, and like just the way they like took care in like the drums on the song Easy Target, Travis describes as like industrial drums, and like all these different styles of music. Like Always is a very 80s sounding new wave song, and then I Miss You is just a completely different song that makes pop culture references to The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a Tim Burton film that Mark and Travis really like.
Yeah.
Stuff like that it's just so departed, and every song flows into the next song. And
this is why I wanted to get Mike on, because
I
don't think people realize Mike and I are huge pop punk nerds.
I didn't know you liked this album though.
Of course, it's probably my favorite Blink-182 album. I didn't
realize.
No, you know what's weird? I think it's pretty controversial. My favorite little body of work that Blink-182 have ever done is the
Dogs Eating Dogs.
Dogs Eating Dogs
How good
EP.
is Dogs Eating Dogs?
And it was when they came back. So Neighborhoods was kind of crap. It was like their comeback, and it was produced shit. They recorded it in different places.
So
it was just
So basically, Blink-182 puts out this dark. Even you could describe this album as emo in a way. It was very self-critical.
Yeah.
There's songs like Here's Your Letter, where Mark is just basically laying out his emotions. There's songs like Stockholm Syndrome, which are heavy, gritty songs that are... Yeah, and then the song I'm Lost Without You, which is the final song in the album, which ends with Travis doing drum fills, and it's just...
Any drummer,
so good.
if you've never heard, obviously you've heard of Travis Barker, but if you've never heard that song at the end of I'm Lost Without You, go listen to that.
Amazing. And basically they put this out, and what I don't think they realized was a lot of Tom really charged that change of direction for the band, and a lot of that was Tom, I think, started to become frustrated with the limitations of the band, the touring of the band, and the fact that he was now a father and didn't really get to see his kids because he was always somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which more or less led to Blink-182 having a massive blow up and breaking up in probably, I think, 2005.
Yeah, I think they toured that album for a couple of years
Yeah.
after that. But what was your favourite spin-off project from Blink? So
Yeah.
if people don't know, Tom created 2 bands. The first one was about the same time as self-titled came out, called
Yep.
Boxcar Racer.
In which he asked Travis to drum in the
Yeah.
band, but did not ask Mark
So
to be a part of it, which
Dog move.
contributed to the friction in the band.
It'd be like if Luke and Lewis quit, and then I asked you to like do a podcast with me, and then
Yeah.
I didn't ask Lewis.
Yeah, something like that. Like, it was just...
Which is, by the way, people think that's what's happened with
That's
Luke
what's
and Lewis.
That's what that's this. That's this.
Yeah.
We're getting the sign, guys.
And I hope this sends a message to Lewis. Let's be honest,
Right.
after all that Blink-182 chat, he's not watching.
Now let's do celeb spots. And Boxcar Racer, which, like, Mark
I
wasn't a
love
part of.
that album. It's only one album. It's just a
Yeah.
band that went for one
It was
album.
never meant to be a success. Like, it was never meant to be toured. It was meant to be an experiment for Tom to
Yeah.
write darker music, but people loved it.
Yep.
So suddenly Tom's touring with Travis without Mark, and Mark's like, oh, why couldn't I be a part of this? There's one song on the album called Elevator, which Mark sings
Mark
on.
features,
which
yeah.
is, in my opinion, one of the best songs they've ever done. It might as well be a Blink song because everyone from Blink is on it.
I think that because I'm a Tom fan and I've always preferred Tom songs in Blink that he sings to Mark's. I love... So, like, there was a brief period after I discovered Blink, went through that phase. There was a brief period, not even brief, like 2 years where easily I would prefer Boxcar Racer and Angels and Airwaves over Blink-182.
Yeah.
Because I was just such a Tom DeLonge fan that for me, Angels and Airwaves became my favourite band probably like year 10 to like year 11, year 9. Like all those years, I still love pop punk, but Angels and Airwaves, I was obsessed with.
It was
like
the next step.
it was like space rock. It was like something I'd never heard.
Yeah.
It blew my mind.
That first album, We Don't Need a Whisper, was so good. And there's songs like...
Do you know that The Adventure is still my favourite song of all time?
That's a great song.
It's always will be my favourite song of all time.
And it's funny because you can see the roots of Angels and Airwaves in that Untitled album. Like,
Oh, for sure.
there's a song called Asthenia, which
Yeah.
is a song about being lost in space. And
Yeah.
then it has a really long intro with like sounds from the moon landing in it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is not a Blink song. And then you can see that that's almost where Tom was getting these ideas to do
Yeah.
this space opera kind of thing.
And then there was also a spin-off. Mark got jelly, I guess, and made a spin-off called Plus 44. Now,
with Travis.
I didn't like... there's a couple of alright songs. When Your Heart Stops Beating was the single, or Baby
So-
Come On.
Here's the thing about
I
Plus
hated
44.
that one.
Every song on Plus 44, the album's called When Your Heart Stops
Were they just B-side Blink songs that never
No, but-
made it?
Well, maybe, but pretty much every song on the album lyrically was Mark telling Tom how fucking pissed off he was that
Yeah.
he did what he did. Like, all the lyrics are about being angry, being betrayed, being, upset at your friends. Like, and it was really heart-wrenching stuff. But yeah, I think it was We Don't Need a Whisper by Angels and Airwaves that was the big one that I really liked.
Yeah.
Like, The Adventure, Good Day.
I still like the shit they're putting out now. Like, they put out this new music video a month ago called Rebel Girl.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
saw
that was
that.
cool.
Yeah.
I still really like them, and they're touring at the moment in America. And if they come to Australia, I'm definitely gonna go.
Yeah, I'd go too, man.
Yeah,
Let's go together.
We should go.
Their album, The Dreamwalker, was really good as well. That
I
was-
literally like all of their
Yeah.
shit. I don't
But-
think there's an album I haven't enjoyed.
So Tom does that in, I think 2008. Travis Barker has a really bad plane crash. Is involved in a plane crash where he nearly dies, which causes the group to get back together
Yeah.
because they're like, "Fuck, what are we fighting for?" They do Neighborhoods, as you said. It's poorly produced. It's recorded from different locations. There's a couple good tracks on there. Lyrically, it's actually strong, but
Lyrically
production-wise, it's bad.
lyrically and even the song, it's just like the guitars sound bad.
Yeah.
And like the
It's not
songs
mixed
aren't
very
mixed
well.
properly,
Yeah.
and it's weird.
Yeah.
And then they 20 2013, I want to say, or
I think
2012.
2012. Late
Yeah.
2012.
Late 2012, and this was the one. I think this is why maybe it's my favorite, because A, it was great, but B, it was I was excited for the release, because this is when I was right into the band.
Yeah.
They released new music, and they released this 5-song EP right before Christmas, like the end
Yeah.
of the year. And Dogs Eating Dogs, When I Was Young, and Pretty Little Girl are some of my favorite songs. And
Yeah,
what's the
I
other
love
one?
Disaster and Boxing
Disaster.
Day. Like that EP to me is the true sequel to the Untitled album.
Yeah.
It is an evolution of that sound, and like When I Was Young is such an amazing angsty Blink-182 song.
Yeah.
Dogs Eating Dogs reminds me of Stockholm Syndrome. Boxing Day is a more low-key acoustic sounding
Yeah.
song. Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
It's a perfect EP in my
So
opinion.
now we fast forward a few
Yeah.
years. Blink-182. Tom's left, if you don't know.
Yeah. He's been fired
he's-
again because he was disrespecting
Not
Mark.
fired. He's just like, he's in meetings somewhere with the CIA talking about aliens or some
Yeah.
shit. He's
Did
storming
you see
Area
Tom
51.
on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, he made him
Yeah.
look insane, because
Yeah.
he is insane.
Yeah.
And now Matt Skiba has replaced Tom, and he was in
From
a band Alkaline
Trio, which I never listened
Never
to.
listened to them.
But they put out an album called California.
That's when
What
I
did you
stopped
think of that?
listening.
So you didn't like California?
That's the last Blink-182 album I've listened to in full.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind it. I like some of the songs
Cool,
in there,
yeah.
and I think people were going, "This isn't Blink-182," and I agree. I was just looking at it from a thing of, I consider it kind of like a spin-off now.
Yeah, me too.
In my head, I have to separate it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it ruins it for me.
Mm.
So I think if I consider it like a Blink-182 spin-off, what Blink-182 is now, I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
It feels kind of weird. I kind of feel like Mark is trying to hold on to something.
Yeah.
It's a little bit
Here's
weird.
the thing,
but-
like, I love Mark Hoppus. I think he's a good songwriter, and I like Matt Skiba's vocals, but it's not Blink-182. But the first two
But Mark
tracks...
also reminds me of me. Like, I'm still going to be saying my name, Jeff, when I'm 50.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's like,
I think Mark cares so much about the legacy of the band.
yes.
He wants the band... Tom's kind of like, oh, I don't really want to sing All the Small Things and What's My Age Again anymore. But Mark's
and
like,
I, and I
I
think
do.
that's fair enough.
I think that's fair. He's like 45. But
yeah.
There's a song on that album called Cynical, the first track of that album, which is a banger, and also Bored to Death.
Bored to Death's good. I really liked San Diego.
Yeah,
I thought
San
that was a cool
Diego's
song.
great. But like, just for perspective, like Blink-182 used to be in the Triple J Hottest 100. Like they are. Yes, we're just recording a podcast, Mum. That's all right. Can we keep that in?
Yes. Mum's
Doing it in my mum's
sorry, not
garage.
Mum, Mike's mum just knocked on the door, if you couldn't hear it in the mics, and said,
Yeah.
Michael.
Just-
That's so funny to me that
Yeah.
did she call you Radio Michael?
Well, she's radio mum. So yeah, we're just doing it in the garage at my parents' place.
So yeah, fast forward to literally yesterday, right?
Yes.
Blink-182, still a band. They release this video. Now, what do you think a modern Blink-182?
I listened to the song. Is it Dark Side? Yeah, I've
Yeah.
listened to the song. It left no impression on me.
It is the worst music video I think I've
Oh,
seen in the
no.
last 5 years.
Okay, are you gonna put the video down?
Yeah.
The video's gonna be here. I hate this. I hate
So it
this.
starts off for
I-
audio listeners.
Can I just?
An 8-year-old girl doing a Fortnite dance, flossing in
Yeah.
an empty gymnasium.
I just want to say I've never hated anything as much as I hate this.
No. It gets so much
Oh,
worse.
No. Why?
So it's-
Okay, that's sick.
Yep.
Travis is sick.
So now there's more people,
Doing
and
the
she's
floss
still
dance.
flossing.
Okay, can you just pause it for 1 sec? Because Travis, like, as cool as that looked, Travis was spinning a drumstick on his finger, but it didn't sync up to the drums that were in
No.
the track. So
And
yeah,
you know what this stinks of, right? So essentially, it's filmed at a high school. This film clip, it's the band members with weird kind of school uniform type
like
shirts
PE
on,
uniforms.
PE uniforms, and the whole clip is just compilations of kids doing various Fortnite dances around the playground and then
Gosh.
playing their instruments in between. Now, this is arguably one of the most influential rock bands of all time.
Yeah.
And it's like their kids have been like, Dad, I got a cool idea for a music video.
So does it go on? Like,
Dude, it gets heaps worse. Do you want to just like fast forward a
so
bit?
Oh my god, this is like a home video from a Macca's birthday party.
So they're doing this one.
And some of the kids are getting way too into
These
it.
kids are like 9 and they're just doing Fortnite dances. That's all it is.
Yeah, keep scrolling through.
And now it just cuts like a hectic montage of various Fortnite dances. That's all it is. It made me really sad.
I'm
man.
upset about this. I've never been more upset, and
Now-
I'm having no fun watching it.
Dude, the comments were just amazing. So someone just commented, "Now I know why Tom left the band."
Oh, that's harsh.
Lots of people just going, "Hey guys, not mad, just really confused."
What's the like to dislike ratio?
Oh, not good. 35,000 likes, almost 10,000 dislikes. So like almost a third people disliking.
Yeah.
And
Such an interesting decision.
dude,
It's like the tour with Lil Wayne. There's not like I have no idea why they would be touring with Lil Wayne.
the top comment is, "We are Blink-182 and you're watching the Disney Channel."
I mean, that's what it feels like.
2000, walking naked in the street. 2019, what the fuck?
Because like, who's watching that video and being like, yeah, like
Yeah.
what? Most of Blink-182's fan base are like people our age, and we're not watching this video being like, kill.
No.
Now I'm gonna do a
That's
floss
a lot
dance.
of the comments I'm reading are just like, do they know what their demographic is?
Yeah.
And what kind of I obviously thought about this a lot, and I was talking about it with my mate who's also a big Blink-182 fan last night, and I was like, I'm like, dude, what about if like they're just playing us all, and this is kind of like the most punk rock thing you can ever do?
Yeah.
If it's like it's so. Like, I think, maybe it's not punk rock to just release something that people are going to hate, but it is kind of like, I don't think it is this. I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. What if, hypothetically, they were like, I got it, right? They came into a room like, what does everyone fucking hate? And like, Fortnite dancing.
So
And like,
we're
doing it. But I just don't think that's the case.
No, I just
It
think
seems like the
someone
kids have
thought it was a good idea.
Someone at the record label was either like, this will get people talking, or...
Yeah. I don't like that. I'm sorry, guys. That's a sound off in the comments below.
Yeah.
What's the best Blink-182 music video?
Yeah, and if anyone says Dark Side, I'll be pretty annoyed. I guess moving on from Blink, because we've been on Blink for a while
let's
now.
5 blinks for Blink-182. Kill.
Oh, should have we done 182? That would take a while.
Yeah, it'll take too long.
Um,
Do we have questions from
No,
the fans? Or?
yeah, we do. But I was obviously like, what do you listen to now? So there's you know, like
Great question.
we
Luke.
still listen to it.
Yeah.
What kind of you moved on to after that phase?
Well, if I had to think of bands I like now that I can genuinely see that these bands must have at some point been slightly influenced by the punk genre, right? Like you can just hear that they've.
Yep.
There's an Australian band that's probably now my favorite band. It's called DMAs.
Yeah.
Do you know them?
Yeah. I know. Their Leica version was one of the best. Probably my favorite Leica version.
I
of
reckon
all
it's
time.
the best ever.
What was it of again?
It was Believe by Cher.
That's it.
And they're probably more so, you know, going back to like Oasis and British rock
Yeah.
of the 90s.
So if you don't know who DMAs are, they are like the guys that look like they'd rob you at a
Eshe
train
lads,
station,
yeah.
but then when they open their mouths,
Voices
it is
of Angels.
soulful.
Yeah.
Like it makes me feel something. And
Yeah.
you watch these dudes with bucket hats and bum bags
Yeah.
sing, "Do you believe
Yeah.
in love after love?"
And so they've got this song called Delete, which is just an incredible song. And I used to write, before I was in radio, I used to write for this music website. And I interviewed the
I feel
guy
like
from
we're
DMAs.
the same person.
Did you used to write for a music
No,
website?
I just like studied music and I
Yeah.
thought about maybe that could be
that
a
could
job.
be my path, yeah. So I interviewed the guy from DMAs, and he told me, like, oh, I wrote the song Delete because when you break up with your girlfriend, I always thought I should delete her off Facebook because I never wanted to see her photos coming up with the new people she was dating. And he wrote a song. I said to him, oh, like, that's like the most modern breakup song ever recorded. Like, you've written a song about
Yeah.
deleting someone off Facebook, and it's such a beautiful song about such a juvenile thing.
Like next album, they're gonna release a song called like "Report Spam and Block." You know,
mute your story,
Mute
hide
story.
stories. But no, they have moved on. Like they've got songs called like "Lay Down," "Dawning," and they all kind of have a little bit of a vibe of like 90s, not necessarily American 90s punk, but just this 90s rock.
even those like maybe this is way off, but like some of those slow Nirvana songs, like
yeah,
like
that grungy.
it's kind of like
feel.
grungy, yeah, and maybe not necessarily the music, but like definitely their image is like grungy and
Yeah.
street kind of.
And their production can sometimes be like really, I guess, like raw in its
Yeah.
sound. Like it's never that produced. It's always sort of really laid back guitar sound. So I'm really into them. But then now I kind of listen to a bit of everything.
Yeah.
My favorite album from this year so far is probably an album from this guy called Nick Murphy, who used to be called Chet Faker.
Why did he change his name?
I don't know.
So this guy named Chet Faker, if you're international, you may not know him. He won he won the Triple J Hottest 100 like 5 years ago, maybe.
2014, I think, with
Yeah.
a song called Talk Is Cheap.
And he was huge at the time. And then why would you change your image?
Yeah.
If you've got a brand that's that big,
He changed his
That's why
stage.
Panic-
His real name is
Yeah.
Nick Murphy, and he just now. And they always put Nick Murphy, FKA, formerly known as Chet Faker,
Yeah.
because they know people are going to be
won't know who
confused
Nick
about
Murphy
it.
is.
Yeah. But his album from this year, which has nothing to do with, I'd say it is so far from what Blink-182 or any
Yeah.
punk band sounds like, but it's a really good album that I really liked. So yeah, what about you?
I have gone through like a lot of weird things. I think a lot of people don't realize I'm like pretty into like rap music.
Oh, really?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
like I often. I mean, when I met Lewis, he used to always put on Cursor in the car, and I actually quite enjoy some of Cursor's music, which I think a lot of people. I think Australian rap has a really bad rap, image, or I don't know. People just like think you're a loser if you listen to it.
Yeah, right.
I don't listen to a lot of Australian rap. I really like Eminem.
Yeah, I love
Um,
Eminem, but
I-
isn't that the widest thing you could ever say?
That's the thing. Like, I think people don't realize, like, I am truly the whitest boy who ever lived.
Yeah.
I love Eminem.
What's your favorite Eminem song?
Dude, like, and that's the thing, you don't even want to know.
No, tell me.
It's not Lose Yourself,
Is
but
it
it's
My Name Is?
no, it's Love the Way You
Chicka
Lie,
chicka
featuring Rihanna.
Yeah, that's
That's
it's either
proper
that or
white
the,
shit.
Yeah, or Lose
Like,
Yourself.
I'm so white that I don't even like the good old shit. I like the new shit. I love Monster. Like, I'm friends with
the
them.
monster.
And I love that song he did with Dr. Dre, I Need a Doctor.
Yeah, the Doctor was Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
The Doctor he's rapping about. Yeah, sorry if you didn't make the
I
connection.
think
in the
most
song.
people made the
Yeah,
connection.
some people might not have. Some people might not have.
I also really like Post Malone.
I really like Post Malone.
yeah,
Like,
he's awesome.
I actually think he has punk vibes. in
Yeah,
some of
well,
his
that's the thing.
songs.
So what I've realized I've liked, and I think it took me a while to understand this, is I have always liked mainstream music that kind of brands itself as kind of anti-establishment or like underground. So it's like everyone likes Post Malone, but his image is like he's cool and
Yeah.
and I love Halsey. I think
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
she's like not like the other pop stars. She's not like Ariana Grande or Katy Perry.
Yeah.
She is a pop star, but she's like fucking cool, and you can tell she writes music that she likes. And
Yeah.
I like her whole movement is like, I'm doing what I want. And I think
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
like artists who do whatever the fuck they want, and that's what I'm into. I've gone into this weird phase where I've started listening to Machine Gun Kelly,
Yeah.
who you've talked about on your podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
I know nothing
I
about
like
him.
Youngblood, and they've got this song together featuring Travis Barker. You should listen
Oh,
to
really?
it. It's
Watch me take a good thing and fuck it all up in one night. Catch me.
There was a couple of comments under the new Blink-182 video saying, like, how crazy is it that we live in a world where Youngblood and Machine Gun Kelly have got more punk rock vibes than Blink-182.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the way a lot of music is going. Is like I think there might be a slight. I think it's going to come full circle, this genre, and I reckon in the next 5 years, pop punk might become cool again, or some form of it.
It had a resurgence, I guess. Like there was
Like
a,
All Time Low and stuff, but
No,
still,
I wouldn't-
that's still
I-
not mainstream.
No, All Time Low I don't like.
I love them.
I know because
I've seen them live, and it was easily still I say, okay, people are gonna hate me for this. I've seen the Foo Fighters live, and I will always maintain that All Time Low live at the Hi-Fi was the best night of music I've ever
See,
It was so much fun, dude. I sung Dear Maria in the microphone while crowd surfing. It was the best moment of my life.
I don't have anything against them, but I just think after the peak of Blink-182, there are a lot of bands that came along that were actively trying to do Tom DeLonge's voice in a way, and I feel like All Time Low were the pioneers of that. Trying to sound
literally,
like Tom DeLonge, but just not being able to.
Alex and Mark have a band together.
Simple Creatures.
Dude,
They're coming to Australia.
Yeah, and you know who won't be there? Everyone.
Didn't you like it?
I hated it.
Oh, I didn't mind it.
They're so self-aware, though. They posted, hey, Australia, trash pop is coming down under.
Yeah,
And I was
right.
like, it's good you know that it sucks.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
I
thought
didn't
they
like
had
it.
some good songs. But yeah, like All Time Low, the Forever the Sickest Kids and
Dude,
shit
I
like that.
love that
Nah, so
shit.
I think because you're like 2 years younger than me, you've gotten 2 extra years where I withdrew.
You bailed out?
Like I just said, all right, Sum 41.
I'm going to draw the
That's
line
it,
here.
yeah.
Surely, oh, dude, I went way further, man.
The main.
No, I never went that
The
far.
Getaway Plan, like
yes,
bands
like
like
the
that.
Getaway
Yeah,
Plan.
never
Dude,
got into
I was
them.
obsessed with this Australian band called Stealing O'Neill, and you wouldn't
I've
know them.
never heard of it.
Dude, pretty much if there was like an Australian pop punk band that's been around the last 10 years.
Tonight Alive.
Fucking
They're
love
not
them.
bad, yeah.
And I
like
also,
them.
you want to know my 2 biggest ever, like, I liked them before they were cool type moments.
Tonight
Alive, I remember watching their film clip of Wasting Away.
How good's
They
that
had
song?
7,000 likes on Facebook, and then now they're huge.
And they did a song with Mark Hoppus.
They did.
Thank you and good
also
night.
Benji Madden from Good Charlotte.
Not
as good.
Not as cool.
You know what
I
else?
did like Good Charlotte.
You
want
to know the weirdest band I've ever discovered before they got huge?
Who?
I discovered 5 Seconds of Summer. Are you ready?
Ah.
When they had less than 1,000 likes on Facebook.
Do you like their music?
I don't. I think it's like cute. I feel like I would have liked it if I was 5 years
actually.
younger.
Me too, yeah.
And I feel like that was the one where I kind of drew the line and I came in a little late. But at the same time, though, still listen to their album.
She Looks So Perfect is a good song.
I've liked
That's
that whole
a banger
album.
track. I
think,
haven't heard the album.
Oh, yeah, that thing. I still listen to the album because I was like, oh, they're Australian and they're my age. And I think that's cool because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I look at them and go, that's what I wanted to do, but I never achieved
Never
that.
did it.
So I
Didn't
just
have the musical talent.
Yeah, I had no musical
Yeah.
talent, and I also, and the guy from One Direction never saw my acoustic
YouTube
cover
video.
on Twitter. So it's like, life's a journey, and that didn't happen for me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I always think about that band, and if you ever watched 5 Seconds of Summer's acoustic videos of them in high school, they're not very good.
Really?
And it goes to show that
Do they
anyone
still make
can make
music?
it. Yeah, the Youngblood.
okay.
You know that
yeah,
song on
they're
the radio?
very different now
Yeah.
though. They're not doing like pop punk music.
No,
they're
they're
doing
not.
like
They've bailed
pop,
from it.
literally just pop music.
I think they've gone like, man, I would love to line my pockets with $100 bills. Let's quit doing a music genre that stop being cool.
Yeah.
And it's smart.
Let's do radio music.
You know what I think's quite sad? I know we'll get off pop punk in a sec, and this might be a long podcast because all
Bloody
we've been
pop
talking
punk.
about is
How
pop
much
punk.
can we still keep going?
Yeah, fuck
Oh,
yeah.
cool. I didn't know if you had a time limit on your podcast.
I don't care. I mean, people can. This episode is so niche that
Yeah.
only people who really like music are going to be still here.
You've switched off
Yeah.
if you weren't into it.
Yeah, so after all that Blink-182 chat, some people might have been like, guys, I don't like them.
Could have listened to the entire discography of
Yeah.
Blink-182 by now.
But what I find sad about the pop punk genre, and I think this is why it gets a bad rap. This is why people make fun of it with pizza and skating and khaki shorts, because bands like Simple Plan, Newfound Glory and stuff, they never evolved.
No.
Ever.
No,
Like
they didn't.
Blink-182, we talked about their evolution then. There is an evolution that you can
They
clearly see in
evolved
that band.
and they peaked.
Dude, I
Duck, duck, go.
Newfound Glory the other day just to see. I was like, I wonder what they're still doing.
Same stuff.
Same shit, man. They're wearing like three-quarter khaki pants.
Do you want to know the band that I reckon is the pinnacle of that? Do you know Bowling for Soup?
Of course.
They still make 35-minute pop punk albums where
whole
pretty much
band
every song is filler.
Still preoccupied with 1985.
But
Yeah.
there clearly is
Like,
an audience
They
for
have
it.
an audience.
I still follow them on Facebook because I find it funny. Like,
Yeah.
they post live clips of 1985 like once a month. And like High School Never Ends.
They
like
basically had like
Jack Black's the
1984,
clown, Brad
High
Pitt's
School,
the quarterback,
Punk
seen it all
Rock
before.
101. Like but they have not evolved.
You know
No.
that and I don't want to say I don't think I've ever told people that these clips are out there, and now
Yeah.
I'm gonna regret this.
No, just say, man.
Fuck. I think I maybe have said it from the podcast.
Did you do a cover or something?
There is a cover of me in year 10 on YouTube under the band name No Break Avenue.
Of?
Look, of 1985.
Can we do a live reaction?
Oh my god.
You don't have to, man.
So shit.
No, I don't want to
And
pressure you.
Here's what's the problem is. We lost the password to that account,
So
and
you
it
can
can't
never
be
delete
deleted.
Everyone report it.
No
Take 'em
Break
down.
Avenue, 1985. Dude, I am.
Do you sing?
No. I would have loved to be able to sing.
Was this at like a school
So there's
talent
a
quest?
few videos. There's Natives by Blink-182 cover.
Did you do a Natives cover?
Oh, it was so bad, man. Because that song, that was just after
That was a
Neighborhoods was
Neighborhoods,
released.
yeah.
Yeah. So we were like, this is the shit.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
So I'm wearing my. So for those
Is that
listening,
you on the left?
yeah, I've got. So I bought the exact same guitar that Tom DeLonge has when he played Big Day Out
Wow.
because I thought that was cool. So I have a Fender Strat. I'm wearing skinny jeans. I'm wearing a Vans Off the Wall t-shirt, and my side fringe is absolutely in place.
How do you think the singer went? Like, let's just hear you.
I don't want to throw shade.
Who
'cause
do you still
I'm
see
not
this
gonna,
guy?
No, and I know.
Okay.
Hayden, you're a great guy. You just
No,
don't have a-
no one performed well.
No, yeah,
one-
I was gonna say I can't throw shade because I'm playing terrible rhythm guitar in this.
You haven't even started singing yet. But he's not even singing. Okay, here we go. You're not. He's not even singing the notes
No.
from the song.
No, he's not.
Just saying the words.
You know what it is? It's like the most cliche high school band who weren't good. And
But this is probably how Bowling for Soup ended up doing that song.
dude, I thought at the time, this is how like unself-aware I used to be. I was like, I'm fucking gonna make it. Like,
This is it. This is my band for life.
yeah, I remember actually
Yeah.
thinking, going like, this is my life. And now, obviously, that was my
It's not
first
your life.
band.
It's not your
It's
life
not.
now. In retrospect, it wasn't.
Now it's reviewing that on podcast, which is my life, sadly. And I am making a career out of reviewing my
there
former
is
life.
the Teenage Dream cover that I did at
That-
Glee Club at
Your
school.
Glee Club one is so good.
Get your heart racing and my skin tight jeans be your teenage dream tonight. Let you put your hands on my skin tight jeans dream tonight. Ooh, ah.
Did you ever watch videos of my other band, Sunday Heist?
No, I thought that was the same band.
No. So Sunday Heist was like the year 12 one when we were self-aware, and I actually don't regret it that much. Like some of it's pretty good. Like we had a song go like top 50 on Triple J on Earth.
Oh, no
Like,
way.
I mean, that's not impressive.
Unearthed it. Like, that's all
I know,
right.
like, yeah.
What was the song
All our
called?
friends just listen to it. Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
It got
Hello.
played a couple of times on like that Unearthed radio type thing,
Yeah.
and
But was it like, hello?
no, it was hollow, like how something's hollow.
Ah,
yeah.
So not like, hello?
No.
Could you just do that?
Hello. Anyway.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Last-
So
yeah.
what were we talking about?
Jack Post,
bands that
Cackling
don't
Jack
evolve.
Post was in a punk band
Last
called Last
Chance?
Chance.
Yeah.
That's classic.
That's so funny. I feel like you would have been in a punk band if
I wanted to be.
if your friends were like, if you were in the
Yeah.
like, if you went to my school, you would have been in my band.
I reckon I would have been. I could have sung in it.
I feel like we would have been friends.
I think we would have too.
Yeah.
I would have been the cool older guy in the band though.
Oh yeah, because you're 2 years older.
2 years older.
Aren't
Yeah.
you a year older?
No, I'm 94.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
But Yeah, I would have been the
96.
cool older member of the band who like knows he's too cool to be in the band, but just is
Yeah,
throwing you a
right.
bone and then sticks around when the band gets big.
What do you, yeah.
But yeah,
What are your thoughts on these are the other big bands before Blink that I was the Red Hot Chili Peppers were my favorite band in like grade 5, grade 6.
never loved them.
Never loved
I
them.
like them.
Yeah.
Never loved them.
That's
Never got
pretty
too
white.
deep into them.
I think that's pretty wide too, like
Yeah.
funk rock.
Yeah, I mean, I like Snow. I like
Yep.
Under the, like all their big songs
Yeah.
I know and enjoy, but I just never related
What
to their
about
music.
Powderfinger and Jet?
Nah, I was never.
I love Powderfinger.
Jet.
man.
I didn't mind. Powderfinger, I couldn't even name one of their songs. I don't
My
think.
Happiness.
Oh yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
But I never got into it.
Right. Okay.
Did
so
they
like
sing Chasing Cars?
that was Snow Patrol.
Yeah, they always
And
remind
I
me.
hate that I know that. You want to know the shittest thing, the shittest long-running, lifelong in-joke that me and my brother have?
No.
Uh,
yes,
yeah,
I do.
okay,
I
don't worry
don't.
about
I
it then.
don't know, but I do want to know.
Yeah. Still to this day, whenever that song comes on, I think when we were kids, my brother started singing "Let's Waste Time."
Those are the words.
Let's chase. He's let's waste time, and he used to go chasing farts. And
you know-
still to this day, like when that song comes on, me and my brother look at each other like we've been drunk for at a party, someone else's 21st, someone's played that song for some reason, we've been like chasing farts,
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's very immature.
and Jack's like, if I fart here, if I just fart. And I remember we were like 8 and we thought that was so funny.
There's
Maybe
this-
that wasn't even out when I was 8, so I was probably like 14.
there's this guy, there's this guy who works at the radio station, and he told me when he like asked his girlfriend out for the first time, like properly, he quoted that song. He said, "Hey, if he actually said this to her, I'm not gonna say who it was because you know them, but he said, hey, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world?" And she laughed at him because she knew the song, but he was serious.
Imagine unironically quoting Snow Patrol and being like, "This
Their
will
biggest
work."
song. Like, you can quote a band in real life if the song isn't
That's like
well known.
walking up to a girl and being like,
I like them boom boom pow.
Yeah.
Them chickens jacking my style.
or just like, "Soldier Boy, tell him you." and she's like,
I got a new dance for y'all called the Soldier Boy.
One thing I think we should cover on this music episode is one-hit wonders. What's your
man.
favorite one-hit wonder?
Yeah, You Get What You Give by the New Radicals.
Same.
It's the
Actually is. It's the
Yeah.
best one-hit wonder of all
It's
time.
the best. It's one of the best songs ever
Teenage
written.
Dirtbag is up
Yeah,
there
that's
for me as
definitely
well.
a one-hit wonder.
Also kind of like The Middle by Jimmy Eat World.
I wouldn't call that a one-hit
I
wonder.
would.
Really?
Name another Jimmy Eat World song.
I've listened extensively to their
Okay.
whole discography.
You're like that's like being someone who's like I wouldn't call Can't Touch This a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
mate.
I mean,
MC
I've listened
Hammer
to all of MC
had
Hammer's
some
albums.
good shit.
No, Jimmy Eat World, like they had a lot of really good songs. They had a song called Futures. They had a song called Damage, which was good. They had this song called The Middle, which we've already talked about, actually. Yeah.
People listening, it's the
Yeah.
only song you'd know.
On that album alone, they had this song called Hear Me. I don't even know the name. But Sound Off Below. What's the song I'm thinking of? It's a slow song. I think it's like Hear Me Now, Hear You Now.
Mate, I
Anyway,
don't know. No one knows.
Anyway,
this band.
someone sound off below.
I was only letting you talk about that because I'm looking up.
You're looking up other
I'm
questions.
just duck going one hit wonders.
Can't touch this. The song about the hollaback girl. She didn't have much after that.
I hate when countdowns start off at 100. It's like, champ, I'm not scrolling
I
through
want the
100.
top 10.
Pick top 10.
Maybe even the
Rolling
top
Stone
5.
readers pick the top 10 one hit wonders of all time.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go through them.
A bit of it awkward. Oh, Sir Mix-a-Lot Room.
Is that Baby Got Back?
Oh, Turning Japanese, number 10. I think
Classic.
I'm turning Japanese.
Yeah.
I think. That's kind of racist these days.
You wouldn't do that these days.
No.
What about Computer Games by Mesex?
I've never heard that.
It's a one-hit wonder.
You know what
Well, it's
one of-
not even a wonder.
Yeah,
It's just a one.
I didn't think it was a hit. Yeah. Chumbawamba, Tub Thumping.
Great song.
I get knocked
but
down.
you didn't hear much more from Chumbawamba.
No. I don't even know this song. Blind Melon, No Rain.
Never heard
Never
of it.
heard of that.
Never heard it. Oh, a great one is Flagpole Sitter by what are they called?
Yeah, I've heard
Harvey Danger?
I hate that I've heard the Punk Goes Pop
Did you used to listen to the Punk Goes Pop?
Dude, I used to eagerly await those
Me
albums.
too. Punk Goes Crunk.
Yep.
Which had Umbrella by All Time
All Time
Low, which
Low.
is probably their best. There was also like the one with Over My Head, by The Fray. There was someone
By
covered
Day to
that.
Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Day to Remember's another good, like, that's
They're
going
coming to
more
Australia,
hardcore.
and they're the only like screamo band I'll delve
Yeah,
into.
'cause
They're
they-
not screamo. Screamo people will be like fuck off, but
Yeah.
like they're the only band I listen to that incorporates screamo.
Screamed vocals, yeah. They had a lot of good songs.
The Knack, My Sharona, a classic.
The Knack had a knack for having one good song.
Yeah, and
Thanks, man. I'm just gonna do one of those.
oh,
for you.
and number 2 is Come on Eileen.
Come on,
I would say all those party songs are like actually on.
Yeah, they're all songs.
Take on Me. They all still
Yeah.
hold up, and also Jesse's Girl,
Yeah.
Stacey's Mum. They all still hold up.
When I was in year 9, there was this guy at my school who used to I had a girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
like a girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. He used to text.
Well, yeah, most people would call it a
He used
girlfriend.
to text my girlfriend and say, "Hey, I'm just listening to the song Jesse's Girl, and I wish that I had Jesse's Girl." And she'd show me the text and be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Did that guy's name think? Did he think your name was Jesse?
No, but he was trying to tell this girl,
I like you.
yeah. How weird's that? Sound off in the comments below. What's the weirdest thing you've done?
Ever.
just ever.
Ever.
I was just like, what the fuck?
All right, let's get to some questions that you guys asked.
Yeah.
Or
This is you guys sounding off the questions.
what is the widest song ever? I have mine.
The widest. See, I'm not that good at like.
Dude, it's
Being
Mr.
white.
Brightside.
Oh, that's a white song, but that's a white girl song.
Well, that's what a white song is if you're at a party and it gets to like a, midnight
everyone
and then
goes-
it comes on and girls go, woo!
And all the guys go, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah, and everyone goes to the dance floor. That's a white song. And then
Yeah.
and then
That's true.
people that's the best part of that bit in the party. When
It's
you
just the
the reality is just jealousy. And then you
I
kind
don't
of
know what I'm
awkwardly
doing with my life.
Yeah, you're like-
listen, you all know this song. And most people don't actually know the lyrics.
How do you dance to it? Like turning to sing. How do you dance to that song without
Choking
fist
on-
bumping?
Yeah, and people just like angrily do it. They're like, choking on your... And it's like,
Yeah.
calm down. We all know the song.
Um,
Yeah, it's probably that.
What's your widest song? Oh, I would say All the Small Things. I was thinking about this recently. The 2 songs that I think I've heard the most times
In your life?
in my life would just because like being in events, listening to it myself would have to be. I think it would either be out of All the Small Things or Mr. Brightside. I think those 2 songs I've heard the most.
Would you say Bohemian Rhapsody, like it's less white than Mr.
Yeah,
Brightside, but it's,
I don't know how many because it's such a long song.
Yeah,
it's like
true.
I don't know how many times I've fully listened to the song. I guess often people don't even play the full. Was there ever a shortened version? No.
I don't think so, because you can't shorten something like that.
Yeah.
Mr. Brightside, I'd have to say.
He is the widest song
Yeah.
of all time. Thoughts on rap? We kind of already did that.
I love Eminem.
Yeah. We're so white.
I love Eminem. I can rap any Eminem verse.
This was the...
If you said like verse 2 of Love the Way You Lie, I'd rap it. Like just...
Go.
Nah, well, I need it. I
Well,
need
okay.
context.
So if I said, hey, Mike, rap verse 2 of Love the Way You
because
Lie.
I can't think of it on the spot.
Isn't it like, he said things, did
Is that
things
it?
that we didn't mean?
For we fall back into the same patterns, the same
Same
routine.
thing.
But your temper's just as bad as mine is. You're the same as me, but when it comes to love, you're just as blighted.
And
Baby,
maybe
please come back.
back.
It wasn't you, baby, it was me. Maybe our relationship isn't as crazy as it seemed. Maybe that's what happens when a tornado meets a volcano. All I know is I love you too much
To walk away, though.
Come inside, pick up your
I'm
bags
like
off
the
the
backup
sidewalk.
rapper
You're
who
the
just
hype man.
who just says the rhyme. Yeah, you keep going.
Don't you hear sincerity in my voice
When I talk?
Told you this was my fault.
Look you
me
in the eyeball.
Next time I'm pissed, I'll let my fist
At the drywall.
Next time, there won't be no next time. You don't get another chance. Like if it's no Nintendo game, but you lied again. Now you get to watch her leave out the window. Guess that's why they call it window pane. Just gonna
Stand
there and what? See, that's verse
You know
2.
what also works? Every other song. I've been a liar,
Liar,
been
been a
You could
thief,
do an Eminem
been a
mashup
liar.
and you wouldn't be able to
Never
tell.
hear Eminem. Just play all the featurings.
That would
and
be
blend
actually
together.
heaps good.
Yeah.
Um,
Verse 2 of Mockingbird.
no, we're not doing
We're
it.
not doing that. We're just doing the one. Sorry,
yeah.
guys. We'll do a podcast which is just us testing out.
I worry that was so good that we might get copyright strike because it sounded so much like the real deal.
Thanks.
We already talked about what our Emma said. Best Panic at the Disco album. Pretty odd, I would say. I also
Pretty
really
Odd
like
is
Death
my
of a
favourite,
Bachelor. Someone just said talk about Reese Maston.
Reese Maston is
What
a
is there
guy
to
that
talk
we
about?
went out for drinks with once.
Yeah. Have we ever talked about that night? I think I did.
That
on
was
the
a fun
podcast.
night. We played good
So,
night at
so
a bar.
Todd, I think, kind of like he either paid off the DJ or
No, it was James Blake, not Todd.
so
It was James,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Our producer James. So
James
it was
is,
after the last Modern Digital show.
the thing about James is he's a stickler for the rules, but if he knows no one's watching, he'll go behind backs
Yes.
to make funny things happen.
Yeah. So we were out at this bar in South Melbourne just after the last ever Modern Digital show when Reese Maston came on, and we all went
Yeah.
out for drinks, and we didn't think it was going to be that much of a big night. We were like, oh, we'll go have a few beers with Reese. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Dude, shots came out. We were all smashing beers. That like
And Reese paid for all
Reese
the
was
shots.
paying for everything, and we're like, dude, he's still in this good night money.
And
Like-
shots of Sambuca, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly,
So-
not like vodka.
Then so we were getting pretty drunk, and then we just hear like the I got my t-shirt, and we was like, and then
It was a white girl song. It was
everyone-
like, oh, get on the dance floor.
Reese hid under the table.
Yeah, he
Remember
hid
that?
onto
He
the
was so
table.
embarrassed.
He was so
'cause the
embarrassed.
other
I felt
people-
terrible.
The other people in the bar realized that this
This
the
is the
guy
guy.
who sings the song is here.
Yeah.
And then everyone just started doing the dance.
And
it was
then
great.
Reese paid for everyone to get a maxi cab to some other bar in
Do you want to know the weirdest
South
shit?
Bank?
No,
Yeah.
so this is what actually happened. We all got separate Ubers and stuff.
Yeah.
My brother the next morning. So my brother ended up coming. Remember when
Yeah,
Simo and my
yeah.
brother came?
And your brother's girlfriend was there, wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't
So
she?
so he no he wasn't. It was just he came after work, right? And then
okay.
next morning he's like, dude, weirdest thing happened last night. And he kind of like he's very in the shadows of like my content. He gets bored up sometimes. He kind of
Yeah.
just hangs in the background.
Yeah.
He has no desire to be like of fame
He works
or like
in accountancy, doesn't he? Or
Yeah,
something
he's
like
just
that.
a tax consultant. He
Yeah.
has no desire to really get involved
Lovely
in anything
guy.
I do. He said, yeah. Next morning he's like, man, crazy night last night. Hey, I was like, yeah. And he goes, you know what happened? And he goes, I never thought this would happen in my life. He goes, if you had have thought, if you had have been like, hey, Luke, in 5 years, whatever. Oh, hey, Jack, in 5 years, I'm going to end up in this situation. He goes, I found myself in the back of an Uber with just me, Reese Maston, and his manager.
Yeah,
My brother,
I don't know.
Reese
I
Maston.
don't know who was in my Uber. Like,
Jack was like, no one else was in there. He goes, I thought you or Lewis were going to come in with me or Mike. He goes, I knew no one. He goes, I was just... Reese was like, hey, man, who are you? And he's like, I'm Luke's brother. And Reese is like, oh, hey, man. So there was a situation in which Jack Kidgell was just in, like, with, like... He's like, they were just talking about, like, upcoming shows. And he was
Yeah.
just sitting there going, I'm a taxi consultant.
and like, I remember, like, I have videos of us, like, you and Lewis doing, like, cartwheels in the middle of a alleyway in South, but like that was a
Oh, really?
crazy night.
That was
We
pretty
went back to a McDonald's after, and they had like this dollar.
You know those things where you roll a coin down and it goes, whoop?
Yeah, so
Whoop.
you have to. It's like a charity thing.
Yeah,
Some
and it
McDonald's
makes it
have.
fun to donate money.
Yeah, so you put the coin in and it rolls down slopes.
Yeah.
But the coins get stuck.
Yeah.
So there's like a build up of coins. So we were trying to get a coin all
You
the
know
way
what?
down.
I can go find this video because I put it on my Instagram story and it should be in my highlights if I scroll down to that
Yeah.
date.
And we were just like, oh,
What?
and then when it finally got to the bottom, everyone, me, you, Todd, James, Lewis,
All
I think
lost
that
our
was
shit.
it, and Jack and
Yeah.
Simo, we just started going, oh, and then I think we played it on the radio the next
Yeah,
day.
we were so excited. It's so crazy. Yeah, so that's our thoughts on Reese. Reese is awesome.
Reese is awesome. He's actually a lovely guy.
I really wanted to go to his Workers Club show in Geelong in a couple of weeks, but
Oh, cool.
people should go to that. I'm just going to see another man of mine, Lane, who's
Yeah.
past guest of this podcast. He's doing a
Yeah.
show the same night. Keelan, of Luke and Lewis fame, asked us which band's more recent albums were better, Green Day or Blink-182. Now, we've already talked a lot about Blink-182. I haven't listened to either band's recent albums. I just want to say, purely because I hope it is, hopefully Green Day's.
Well, Blink-182 haven't put out an album since California.
Haven't they? Yeah, they have.
They put out like a deluxe edition with bonus tracks, but
right.
they haven't put out a full album. But Green Day did one called Revolution Radio, which was actually quite good.
Yeah.
Had a really beautiful song called Ordinary World, which is like a ballad that kind of reminds me of Time of Your Life. Like, it's really good.
Oh, okay.
Suss it. Thanks, Keelan. Thanks for writing in, man. Stop making fuck-ups on the Luke and Lewis show.
This one's funny. Someone said, and I just feel bad, how has your music taste... How has both your music tastes evolved from childhood to adulthood? I think all
Didn't we answer
we've
that?
gained is mine hasn't evolved.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more open now. I used to be like, oh, anything on the radio is just trash.
Oh yeah, like
Now I'm just
I
like-
do listen to like I want to the only music I kind of haven't got into is that Triple J. Like I look at a Splendor in the Grass lineup and I'm just like don't care.
Same.
I look at it and it's like
Splendor, Meredith, all these
like
festivals are beyond me.
the Falls Festival got to thing on everyone's like, man, let's go see. I can't even name a band.
Yeah.
The Bennies.
The fuck knuckles.
The-
Like,
yeah, it's like
kill.
the-
Yeah, the bennies.
the
Like,
Bennies
it's
or like shit like
but
that.
don't you think people with these festivals, they're like, there's a really small band that has one song that's mildly popular on Triple J, and they're like, oh yeah, the Cranberry Kids are gonna be there, and you're just like,
And
who the
everyone's like,
fuck are the
everyone's
Cranberry
like,
Kids?
fuck yeah, like
it's like we all know you just know the one song, and like I don't know.
Like, I do know the headliners, obviously. Like, I
Yeah.
always know, like, Amy Shark and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I'm going to look at the Falls Festival lineup.
Amy Shark did a song with Mark Hoppus. I really liked it.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting up the Falls Festival lineup
Yeah.
now.
We're
and I
going to get
wanna-
so much hate from the Triple J audience.
I
for
don't
this.
give a shit, dude. I don't think anyone... I think my podcast audience is so wide at this point that, yeah, maybe Triple J music is now the widest thing you can actually listen to.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe I'm, like, kind of cool now that I have, like, a weird taste.
Don't you reckon, like,
I don't think that's the case.
the hottest 100 used to be like this really like underground, like this is what all the cool people
Yeah,
listen.
now
Don't
it's,
you reckon
like,
it's the most
mainstream.
mainstream thing you can be?
Okay, I do not... Like, who's this band?
What? It's not the Cranberry Kids.
No, there is a band. You're gonna think I'm making this up. There's a band on the Falls Festival lineup called the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets.
Yeah, I've heard of them. And also like King Gizzard and the
Pink
Wizard
Sweats.
Wizard, like these bands with like really crazy names.
You know what it is? It says
No offense, like, I'm
Toddy
sure they're
plus
good.
loads more. For a second, I thought plus loads more was a band.
That's a good band name. If you could be in a band, what would you call it?
I like the Fuck Knuckles. Oh no, even better. And then do you reckon everyone will be like, oh, like they'd shorten it to the Fuck Knucks? They'd be like, man, who
You going to see Fuck Nuts? Yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck Nuck, yeah. Yeah. The Fuck Nuck.
I know Baker Boy. I saw him at the airport
Baker
once.
Boy's cool.
Baker Boy's cool.
I really
I
like
like
his
Peking
songs.
Duck.
Yeah, I like Peak the Peaks.
Dude, as if people are still going to see Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have that one
Are
song
they
of like,
still a thing?
yeah, I don't
They're
know.
still making music?
John Farnham's playing Falls.
Okay, this is my other thing about
What the hell?
festivals. They always get these people that are like memes. Like, sort of, it's the Shannon Noll
Daryl
effect.
Braithwaite
They get
kinda
Daryl
stuff,
Braithwaite,
yeah.
and people go like, oh, Braitho's going to be at Falls. He's going to be playing horses. Our fucking
and
six
then they have
It's
to
like,
sit through 40 minutes of shit they
just to-
haven't heard.
It's like, if you're going to spend $400 on a ticket to a festival,
Yeah.
and the selling point of the festival
And that's
is
pretty
that
good. To
Braith-
see horses live with like 80,000 other people, pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah. It'd be
Is it
fun.
worth it?
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I know, but people act like it's like the best thing that's ever
There's a
happened.
band called Dope Lemon.
Yeah, I've heard their
I know who
album.
G
That's
Flip
Angus and
is.
Julia
She's
Stone.
cool.
Yeah, G Flip.
Number One Dads is the name of a band or
Yeah.
an artist.
That'd just be bloody your dad and my dad. Tell you what,
There's a band called Amel and the Sniffers.
Amyl and the Sniffers.
Amyl and the
Do you know what Amyl is?
It's a drug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it relaxes your asshole.
That's so Triple J.
Oh, you're gonna see Amyl and the Sniffers? Yeah, I'll bring the Amyl. You bring the Sniffers. You wouldn't want to get caught by a sniffer while you're doing Amyl.
I just think that music, like, it just doesn't interest me. And I guess it's a thing where maybe if I grew up now, maybe that's what I'd
yeah,
like.
same. Like, I don't think I could say with a straight face, like someone's like, oh, who's your favorite band?
Amel and the Sniffers, dude.
Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. Why? Because I love psychedelic rock. I
It's
love
like-
porn. Love crumpets for brekkie.
Yeah, you know how
How
I
could I
love
not?
taking psychedelics and jacking off over crumpets, man. You
And
know-
like, if you're a member of that band, that's fine. Nothing against you. I'm not saying that anything I do is better than you.
Yeah.
I'm sure your music's good. I just can't get around that name.
a few people have wanted us to talk about like EDM music. I don't know much about EDM music, but I don't think it is EDM music, but someone said literally talk about anything about Salvatore Ganacci.
No,
Do you know
I
who
never
that is?
heard that name.
So, you clearly don't watch my channel.
I'm sorry,
I
man.
do. I've done a couple of videos on him.
I watch some of your stuff.
Oh, that's
The bi-monthly Bull's alright.
yeah. I really like your shit. Is it called Mike Review or Lou Review or something like that?
That's Lewis Spears.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Um,
Don't worry about it though. We get mistaken all the time.
Anyway,
We're both
so
tall.
he's just like he's a DJ. What's
Yeah.
your thoughts on like Tomorrowland and that whole like?
Never heard of that.
Tomorrowland.
Is that a festival?
What?
Is Tomorrowland? It's
Probably,
a Disney
I
film,
would say
isn't it?
actually the biggest.
If you go to
music-
Disneyland, they have Tomorrowland in Disneyland.
I'm pretty confident in saying Tomorrowland is actually the biggest music festival in the world, and it's in Europe.
Yeah, never heard
It's
of it.
huge.
Do I look like the kind of guy who goes to music festival
Are
and
you-
does amel?
You and
Because
sniffs
I'm
it?
not.
No, you look like the kind of guy who would keep up to date with what is enormous for like
No.
the last 10 years.
I vaguely have heard of Tomorrowland, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like Steve Aoki and just like,
Yeah.
you know, all the biggest DJs. So what do you... I feel like we can't talk about EDM music because I don't know what...
Dota, the song Dota.
I know
Did
that
you
it-
hear the song Dota? Visita hari danta, vismera rita
Oh, yeah.
dota, a pusa puro smeke, ferusa kovirike, visita hari danta.
You know it's a weird thing that
Dota.
happened in music a couple of years ago?
The Dota song?
No, like that. But like... it became mainstream after Despacito to just like sing in a Spanish or whatever.
Different language.
Just in a different language. We just like the half the lyrics are in English and then and it's like Despa. Now Justin Bieber's gonna
like that.
and everyone's just like burrito and then
And
that's
everyone,
the appeal.
everyone in the context of the song knows what they're saying, and
Yeah.
we're supposed to just know. Yeah. No, EDM is not my jam. There's also a song called Raver's Fantasy that I remember listening to in like year 8. And it's like, this is my davity, and it's just the Raver's Fantasy. Sound off if you know the Dota song and the Raver's Fantasy song.
Hey, this is an interesting one. Veronica. Someone said talk about Veronicas and the Veronicas only. I'm sorry, we have talked about some other stuff, but
Do you want my honest opinion?
The
Yeah.
Veronicas are on the Good Things line.
Yeah, I saw that.
What the fuck?
Can I say that I genuinely think the Veronicas make incredible music?
Yes, but they should not be on a
On the-
hardcore
no.
festival lineup, on a pop
But-
punk.
Untouched, Hook Me Up, Forever.
I think they're great.
Yeah, like I really like those songs. Even that new one, Take Me Back. No, do you think of me in night? Do you think of me in bed?
I can just imagine your mate
I think
like
it's called Think
saying
of
that
Me.
unironically to a girl now, like, "Hey, baby."
Do you think,
you
of,
think
me
of
at
me at
night?
night?
No, I think it's called Think of Me. That's a good song. They play it on the radio
if you
show all the time.
Walked up to a girl and went, "Can you hook me up? Anything is good enough. Hook me up." And she's like,
I,
"Are you okay?"
Can I tell a story about the Veronicas? Actually, I think this is funny. So, it must have been year 11 at school, right? And I went to this really like hardcore private Catholic school, so it was you couldn't like you'd get in trouble if you did something wrong, like
Yeah.
most schools. And I just remember, it's the song "Take Me on the Floor," right? And the
Take
chorus
me on
is
the floor.
da 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 da. So I just remember we were doing a test or something, like we were doing work in a silent classroom with this teacher that was like notoriously not a great teacher. Like he would always like people would muck around all the time. And I just remember the class was in complete silence, everyone just doing their work, and then suddenly a guy sitting at the front just goes, "Take me on the floor," and the whole class just went da 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 da, and then everyone just went silent again, and it was like the funniest moment ever.
I think people like really underestimate how funny it is, and I think just like the this is why I think comedy and music have like such a weird crossover, which is like
Yeah.
it's so funny. Music is such a thing where if you like quote something and stuff, something like that, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like to quote music, I don't know, just some shit like that when you're all in on this one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's on like
That's actually true.
on like that's why I think makes music so cool is like everyone in that moment was like, I know exactly what to
song
do
this
after
is.
someone says "Take me on the floor,"
Yeah.
and that's
Everyone knows the song.
there's no other thing, like there's no movie quote that where you say the first half, everyone
Says the second
finishes the second half.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Like,
Or maybe if you go, "I feel the need," and then everyone, no one,
I don't even
no,
know that. What is that?
The need for speed,
Oh,
like in Top Gun or whatever.
Haven't seen it.
But you know that quote.
Didn't
No?
know the quote.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I did not know that. But like for me, if someone was like,
Yeah, like you never at a high school interview were like, "Get to the whole class is not going to be like chopper," but like music is so funny that
Yeah,
and
'cause
because
it's
it's catchy,
rhythmic, I guess,
and I guess
yeah.
people, it's just fun to participate in, which is
Yeah.
why I think most people like music.
yeah, I'm
It's
trying
so
to think
fun
of
to
other
participate.
examples.
Well,
of
dude, that was like the Good Night thing on our radio show. It was like,
And you know the other one from the radio show? There was this song called "Don't Delete the Kisses" by Wolf Alice, and it started like, "What?" And And every time it came on, Lewis would just go, ah, ah, ah. And then every time it came off, everyone in the radio team would just go, ah, ah.
You know why? Because we used to play the exact same 10 songs on
Every
a
day.
loop on Triple
Yeah.
M on a digital.
Yeah.
And my other favourite one was, I bought a lemon to a knife fight.
Yeah.
And we did that break about what would happen if you actually bought a lemon to a
Yeah.
knife fight.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Even Amy Shark Says Hi. Like, even that's kind of
I think
related,
that
like-
is why, like, a lot of people... Again, that's why I wanted to do this episode, because I've talked about music, and I think lots of my content, literally my biggest video was of a
You Don't
song.
Own Me, yeah.
You don't know me. So, like, I feel like people know I like music, but, like, I don't think a lot of people know that, like, I love music. And, like,
Yeah.
if
You
comedy
should listen
wasn't
to
a thing...
Triple J, man. Triple J's slogan is "We love music."
Really?
Triple J, we love music.
That's so funny, because I hate their music.
I don't mind Triple J. Like, I'll put it on from
I'll
time
be
to
honest,
time.
I know you can't say anything because you still work in the industry. So do I, kind of, actually. But
I like Triple J.
I just don't like the announcers.
Oh, Matt, I'm saying nothing. I
You
like
say
Triple J.
nothing.
I like the announcers.
I just think it's so funny. Neil Kolhatkar has a great bit about it where he just talks about, like, he has this stand-up bit where he, like, he does, like, this is what a Triple J announcer sounds like, and he just does bong hits between each sentence. He's like,
I feel like that's the common consensus.
yeah, we've just
of-
got, like, hey, guys, like, welcome back to Triple J.
Yeah.
Just got a couple of boys straight out of Warrnambool. You know, like, they're a local band. They've been killing it lately. We're going to hear from them in a sec, but coming up is the psychedelic porn crumpets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
that went to air this morning.
Whenever I hear Triple J, I think it's like a parody of itself at this point. It's like, hey guys, we're just gonna be checking in with you know, it's like fucking with Milky Chance or whatever like that. And it's like we're gonna have a liker version from. It doesn't matter at this point because who gives a fuck? But it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just funny
Like,
to me.
No, like, and that's really funny. Neil Kolhatkar, like, he's really good at like social satire.
He's
I feel.
great at,
He's a really funny guy.
taking the piss out of mainstream
Yeah.
media.
Yeah. So, hey guys, how are you?
Another weird space of Australian music, and Muse isn't one of them, but like someone said, can you talk about Silverchair, the presets, and like anything on Rage?
Okay,
Do you remember Rage?
Yeah. For some reason, whenever I hear Silverchair, I think of the Chronicles of Narnia. Was that a book in the Chronicles of Narnia?
Don't know.
I'm pretty sure one of the Chronicles of Narnia
seems
was
like
the
it would be.
Silverchair.
Yeah.
Silverchair had a song called
Straight
Straight Lines.
Lines.
I think that's the only song I know by
Yeah.
them, and I think it's a banger.
And I think they were really popular, and I feel like we're just if you are a
Before
Silverchair
our
fan,
time, before our time, yeah. What was the other? The presets are great. Their new album was awesome.
My people.
One for you and one for me. That was such a good song. That whole album I really liked.
This one came in from Hamo 360.
Hey,
Hamo.
360. Oh, 360.
So someone said you should get 360 on your podcast in these, and no,
I don't know.
Great, moving on.
I've never listened to his songs.
I have, and that's what.
Fair enough.
This one came from Hamo. Yeah, number
Hamo.
one favorite Nickelback song.
Photograph.
I think mine. It used to be Photograph, and now it's How You Remind. It's How You Remind
How
Me.
You Remind Me.
Never made it as a
Can
wise
I
man.
tell you a funny story about Nickelback from
yeah.
school? So they have this song. I don't know what it's called, but the chorus. Maybe you'll know it because you kind of liked them, didn't you?
No.
Oh, they
No,
had this song.
I only know two songs.
It definitely wasn't one of their mainstream songs, but I will never forget this song.
And I hate that that's my vibe. You know what I mean?
You'd be into
Lots of
Nickelback.
people listening to this going, Luke probably loves Nickelback. I'm more of a Smash Mouth guy. Yeah.
In year 9 at my school,
Yeah.
every time the teachers did like a presentation or something to like motivate the students, they would always use this Nickelback song where the chorus was like, if today was your last day, if tomorrow was too
know that
late.
song.
Yeah.
If today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late.
It became a meme of our year level that everyone would always sing this Nickelback song. If there's any Nickelback fans, let me know if you know this
Oh,
song. It's like,
well,
if
there's
today...
none.
Yeah, well,
So-
actually, just forget about it.
So if you're a Nickelback fan, sound off in the comments. I just don't think we'll get any.
Yeah, just sound off, but won't
And,
be
like,
hearing much.
You know what I want to know? If you unironically are like, fuck yeah, Chad Kroger. Like if
Yeah.
you're like front row at the concert being like, this is how
If
you
today
rem-"
was your
Yeah.
last day.
Like, do you reckon that person exists? Like,
Well,
like emotionally going like, look at this
that's the
photo.
thing about Nickelback.
You know,
Like,
that's my favorite meme is look at this graph. Yeah, when they cut that
Yeah,
photo.
I think if there weren't people who loved Nickelback wouldn't be making music. Like
I don't know,
fundamentally,
man. There's people who have made a career of being like, lol.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the hate for Nickelback is as strong as the internet would lead you to believe. I think a lot of people like Nickelback.
I think the hate
Not
for
me though. Not me though. I swear.
I think the hate for Limp Bizkit is as strong as you would believe.
You know what? I don't think I've ever heard a Limp Bizkit song.
But you know how much everyone hates them though.
No, I've never heard that. Do people hate Limp Bizkit?
With a passion. Look up, if you like DuckDuckGo right now, like top worst bands, like most hated bands, it'd be like Limp Bizkit and like, who's the other band that people hate?
Nickelback?
Nah, look up, like, obviously Justin Bieber stuff will make that list because the internet sucks. But like, look up most hated bands. I reckon my guess will be a Creed will be up there.
No, I
People
don't even
hate
know these
Creed.
bands.
So yeah, Nickelback, Smash Mouth,
Metro
Black Eyed
Station.
Peas, the Goo Goo Dolls. People hate like one hit, one at a time. Like John Mayer. I don't know why people hate John Mayer. I think he's fine. He's
But I don't
not
know
for
any
me.
of these bands well enough to even make a judgment. Honestly.
I don't know why people hate the Goo Goo Dolls. Dave Matthews Band, Creed. I told you, people. There's bands that are just like wildly known for being hated, and that's how they're known at this point.
Jesus Christ.
Like it would suck to see
That's
yourself
like-
on that
That's
list.
kind of like us, though.
The most hated podcasts or
Yeah.
most hated Memoirs of a White Guy episodes, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's definitely the music one
Sorry,
with Mike."
guys. We've done it again.
One thing and the second question. So yeah, my favorite Nickelback song, man, is probably "How You Remind Me" and "Photograph." The second question from bloody Hamo 360
Yeah.
is what is Mike and yours song of choice when working? Are you like a in the background work guy?
I work in radio, so I don't get to choose.
so it's
just
Ariana Grande,
whatever's
man.
being
It's
played.
fucking Ed Sheeran on repeat is Mike's favorite.
Yeah. My favorite album. No, I would never listen to music while working because
Right.
like
It's
my
unproductive.
because we work in sound.
Yes.
Like it's not. I'm not trying to like disregard your question.
yeah,
Hamo,
we
but,
don't have like
our work is so to do
data
with
entry
sound.
jobs where
Yeah.
we can just sit there and listen to music all day.
Yeah.
I'm usually editing a video. I have to listen to it.
Yeah, that's actually my least
But in the
favorite
car,
thing about our
in
work.
the car, I listen to music. That's the only
Yeah.
time I really listen to music.
Car
And
is
I
same.
drive so much.
Or if
that-
I'm on a run or a walk or something, I'll listen to music. Yeah.
I guess to keep it interesting before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Is there any other things that you have thought we missed in this? Obviously, we
Yes.
can't cover all of music in general. I feel like we've
No, we
covered
can't. Because
white
we have-
teenage boy music enough.
we haven't touched classical.
No,
We haven't mentioned Mozart.
Is there a genre that you won't listen to?
I don't like. I've never. I had a phase of like loving screamed vocals, but I don't anymore.
Yep.
Just because it hurts my ears. Nothing against.
I
it.
won't listen
just-
to country.
No, I don't
Like,
like.
if you were like,
country.
"Hey man, sit down and with no phone, no entertainment, and listen to an entire Keith Urban album," I'd be like, "Fuck you, no way."
Even that Old Town Road that's blown up. Don't like
It's
it.
funny though.
But I don't
don't
like
think
it.
anyone likes it.
Oh, is that a joke song?
It's kind of like it's just kind of a meme.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, I mean, it's a alright song. It's like a one hit wonder, I guess.
I actually I quite like classical music. I like ambient music.
Alright.
Yeah.
And I would just say, I think we've talked about Blink-182 a lot. My other favorite artist of all time, Psy.
Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style.
You know, my dad when that song was big, my dad used to always walk around the house like
Open gang.
trying to be cool, but he'd be like, Ganga Style. Ganga Style.
Ganga
I was like, Dad, that's not the song. He'd be like, yeah, Ganga Style. And I was
That's
like, Dad,
funny.
not the song. But yeah.
Do you remember like a band called 303?
Yeah.
They were like,
They were great. I saw that in one of your videos recently. Was that in
yeah,
Meg's
the whitest boy
video?
who ever lived.
Oh, that was yours.
No,
yeah.
I just thought that's what
was so
reminded me.
funny.
I was just like, that's so funny that everyone.
Don't trust a hoe, never trust
It was
a
that
hoe.
line that everyone knows is like, you tell your boyfriend
that
if
I'm
he
a
says he's got beef that I'm a vegetarian and I am fucking scared.
You know what? I had forgotten all about that song, and then I saw that video, and I was like, "What is this song, and why do I know it?"
Why people like kind of clown on pop punk and that genre, because there's so much.
303.
There's
yeah.
so much ridiculous. Like, do you remember Cobra Starship?
Yeah.
Like, I make them good,
Girls go
bad.
bad.
There's so many weird songs that kind of fall under that, I guess,
Umbrella,
overarching
yeah.
pop punk weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
That make me so ashamed to like the genre, and me also make me so ashamed to. There was a day in my life where I was like, "Fuck yeah, new Cobra Starship."
Share on Facebook. Has anyone heard the new Cobra? Man, this is as good as Psychedelic Porn Crumpet's latest album.
You know what's like a weird thing that happened in my life?
No.
I think I can find it. I think I was going to make a video on it.
Oh,
It's
good.
called, probably still will make a video on it.
You don't have to ruin it, but
Nah.
I'm interested.
I think if I just search
Luke's just
Facebook,
searching on his Mac.
Facebook screenshots, I was going to make a video on it. I used to, unironically,
Sorry, I was just winking.
quote Blink-182 on my Facebook as a status. Dude, I found it the other day and I had to go
I
down.
used to do that too. I did a post that was you know the song Josie? I know that everything, you know that song?
Yeah.
I did a status once that was just I know that everything, know that
Here we
everything,
go.
know that everything.
Cringe Facebook screenshots the album.
Oh god.
So these are...
Just open one and then do a full video on it because that's great.
I was going to do a video on this ages ago. So these are statuses, dude.
The first one's great.
Should I save this for a video?
Save it for a video because that's hilarious.
Happy-
See if you can find a Blink-182 one.
This one just says, Luke Kidgell, 29th of April 2011. Batman was intense.
I assume
5 likes.
I assume you're referring to like The Dark Knight Rises or something.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, this was on the radio show.
Yeah, this one we read on the radio one time. 16th of March 2011. This is what I thought we should be putting out in the world. Sitting by the fire, listening to Panic at the Disco. Life doesn't get much better.
And you
Spelled better wrong.
you've included the exclamation mark in Panic at the
Yes.
disco. Like you've gone the full give us a dance floor watching Star Wars.
Illy
Illy
AVA,
AVA,
which is
Angels
Angels
and
and Arrows.
Arrows.
So no likes. 2010,
Everyone's like, what the fuck is this?
5th of December, I put on my Facebook wall, Illy AVA. This is the thing. I don't think people realize I was obsessed with this music, and it was my
you did
identity.
statuses about
It
them.
was my identity. I was a loser. This is me pissing off a cliff. That's unrelated. This one's a funny one. 15th of July, Blink-182 are back. Love Heart.
13 likes, so a lot of people getting
So I just literally
8th
wrote
of
the
May
word
2011 Space Jam. You
on my
probably must
Facebook
have been
wall.
watching the movie
Yeah.
with the Looney Tunes.
Yeah. The
That's
point is, like,
fucked,
yeah,
man.
this is what I do want to make clear to people. This is what I did before
was
you
your-
guys kind of knew me, I guess. Before I
This
had
was
an
your
audience,
life,
my
yeah.
life was music and telling people about it and no one caring. And now
Yeah.
this is why I've kind of always wanted to do this. Maybe some people might care.
And we
Maybe
can-
not.
We can do another one.
Yeah.
I've got an extensive vinyl collection. I've got a few punk albums. I've actually got Trey.
Oh my God.
From the failed Green Day trilogy of albums, I've got Trey on vinyl. Do you want to do a Let's Listen?
No.
we
No, we need to end this podcast.
We sit down and just listen to Trey on vinyl and we just
You have to
review
be
it.
somewhere
You have
soon.
to be somewhere soon.
So do you. All right.
Yeah.
Let's end it now. I want to end it with a suggestion that came in from our very good friend. Definitely won't listen to this episode, but Lewis Spears.
Yeah.
He replied saying, "Hey guys, do an acoustic cover of "Don't Fuck with Cursor."
I don't know that song.
Oh,
I can't.
so
I
it's
can.
just don't.
Well, do you wanna sing it?
Don't fuck with Cursor. I think. I'll get up the song just so we don't muck it up. Maybe you could do an acoustic cover of one of your favorite songs, or if you have one you want to do
Yeah.
while I get up the song. We're ending the podcast. It's the music podcast. What song, I guess, defines music that we should end it on? I got my t-shirt and sneakers on. I'm to mess around with fate. It feels so wrong. Is it wrong? Living up tonight. Who damn my life. Let's go back to rock and roll and people just let go and let the music go. I'm just looking for a good night. Oh,
And for the right time. No.
all I really want to say to you right now. Shut your mouth and let the
Music speak out loud. That's my Reese Master.
It was pretty good. That was great, man.
I'm just looking for a good night.
Oh.
Actually, that cover of Goodnight Reese played on your
was
radio
really
show
good.
was really good. So sorry about that, Reese, that we've butchered it. But yeah,
I don't think we butchered it. I don't think
I
anyone
think we
was thinking
think
that.
we saved it.
Are you ready? Oh yeah, that's how it goes. All right, you play just like an E chord maybe, and this is Lewis's request, and this is how we're gonna end the podcast. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So just go. Don't like give me like a.
should be like-
Dun, dun, dun. Wait, this is how we're ending the podcast, and we're not gonna
Sorry,
say anything after this. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to the music episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you want me to do themed episodes like this occasionally, let me know if you enjoyed it. And yeah, this is our Luke, Kidgell, and Radio Mike's cover of "Don't Fuck with Cursor" acoustic. Take it away, Mike. Don't fuck with, well, I don't know how it goes. Don't fuck with Cursor. Don't fuck with. Don't fuck with Cursor. Lyrical genius. Oh shit, sorry, you said not to say anything. Okay, I might cut this out. Okay, cut this out. Bye guys.
See you guys, and I'll do one more chord.
He's just gonna do one more chord. Do a G. End it with a G.